following is a production of Dirty Mo Media.
Welcome into another episode of the Dale Jr. Download. This episode is presented by Arby's. Don't forget about Arby's new meat and 3-box. Get more meal for your money at Arby's. We have the meats. Way to go, TJ. All right, so obviously I'm not Dale Jr. Dale Jr. is off on vacation.
Yeah, it's second vacation in like 3 weeks. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Rough in it.
He's got a lot going on, but I'm glad to be here. You know, my career
love
started.
podcasts.
Well, I did. Way to go, right off the get.
Do you know where Dale is at on vacation?
Somewhere in the
Skiing.
central United States.
Yeah.
Skiing.
And
Any advice?
Don't break a leg. We'll
Watch
start
for
with
ice.
that one.
watch for ice.
Watch for ice. Yeah, so, I broke my leg. Gosh, it's been about 2.5 months ago. But I was on a ski trip, but I was not skiing, which it makes the story way less cool. But I think everybody immediately says, so you were skiing? Like, well, not really. But it just goes to show you can get hurt like any way possible.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm still trying to. That be much cooler if you hit a jump or something.
I know.
But I do think people have they know, like, because they say Brad skiing, and they probably immediately think of that basketball video from about 20 years ago or whatever that was, and like,
Yes.
you probably shouldn't ski.
No.
But I think you're actually decent at skiing now, right?
I'm actually a pretty proficient skier. I'm not like Colorado Black Diamond. I think
Apparently you're not Dale Jr. either, because he
No.
does like 16 miles in the last 2 days, or 16 miles a day here skiing, which I call bull. Just so you know.
so. That's what he's told you. 16 miles.
He's told us, 16 miles each day. So
You know how far 16 miles is on a pair of skis?
Yeah, I mean, no,
I'm calling BS. I'm gonna need some kind of evidence. Do they have like those Stravas or whatever you wear when you ride a bike? I need to see the Strava for skiing.
Do you think he's actually done 16 miles a day, Travis?
No, I think he did 1.6 this whole time.
He just can't read. Forgot his glasses.
Yeah. There's no way Dale.
Listen,
He may have 16 beers a day.
he's not here, so we can talk all this we want.
He's not.
I know.
No way.
What you really need is a camera on Dale Jr. when he listens to this. You need like a Dale cam, because I'd like to see like his eye rolls and his like, man. You know how he gives you those eyes, those like FU eyes when you say
Oh yeah,
something to him?
he pretty much has them on the entire time here.
He's
whatever.
with Nicole and Isla too. It's not like he's with he's got some teenagers that are gonna go
Yeah, good point.
If anything, they did like some tubing.
Can you even tube 16 miles?
No.
Well, either way, Dale Jr.'s not here, so I'm in.
Yeah,
He's
we're
skiing
thankful.
16 miles in Colorado. Enjoy it. Precious time with the family. And I'm carrying the weight. So, TJ said I'm not a podcast guy. I've been asked to do a lot of podcasts. I generally say no to almost every podcast. And it's not because I'm a jerk, but I really only do podcasts for my friends. So, Dale gave me a great start in my career. TJ's obviously one of my closest friends for a long time. And they asked me to join in, so here I am. I'm going to do Dale Jr. Download.
I figured you're like, the last thing I want to hear is TJ in my ears another day.
But there might
You
be
know
a
what's
little
weird
truth
though
to
is that even though he like wants more info during the races and stuff, so
I do, when I'm in the race car, I like a lot of chatter. Well, usually. Not always. On road courses, not so much. But on most races, like I like a lot of chatter. I want to hear what's going on. I want to be like almost like a fan in the stands. Like, oh, this guy passed for the lead. Like, I want to know these things. Like, well, how did he do it? Well, he was running on the outside. He drove down to the bottom. Like, I want to know those things. So, yeah, I do like a lot of talk. But podcasts, I casually listen to podcasts. I can't say like I'm an everyday podcast listener. But I'll do them for my friends. Like I'll call in or be a part of it for my friends. And so this is kind of a rarity to get me on a podcast. In fact, Travis, you might appreciate this. Before there was Actions Detrimental, Mike Davis called me and said, hey, I want you to do this podcast. And he pitched it to me, and I'm like, man, Mike, that sounds great. I'm not going to do it. I don't want to do any podcasts. I have way too much going on in my life. And next thing I knew, Denny was doing a podcast. Like, you know what? That's perfect.
I could have been a Brad bro.
Yes. But
wow, yeah. Now that you think of it.
Look, I'm totally cool with Denny doing it, because Denny says all the stuff that I think in my head, but don't really say. And I'm like, yeah.
Denny does say a lot of that.
You can be the one to get in trouble. You know what I mean?
You can get fined $50,000.
Yes. I've already ran that part of my life of like, I feel like I had a weekly tab at NASCAR. You know, like a bar tab. Like, all right, you know, and you have to cash it in. Here's 50K. Here's 75K. And I got tired of paying that. So no more weekly
No more
bar
fines?
tab. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've been fined now for like almost 8 years, which is actually
on wood.
pretty good.
Excuse-
So
then
way
you
to
did-
go, Denny.
Let's
Then-
see what we can get Brad to say today.
Then you did this episode.
Then I did this episode. I'm going to get fined for talking about getting fined. But yeah, Dale Jr. Download, it does great. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are tuned in, listening, are like, where's Dale? Well, you got me. We're going to try to make it a fun episode. And I think we got a lot of great stuff to talk about. Coming off the Phoenix race weekend, a lot happened. It's kind of an action-packed race weekend. And I'd like to dive into it. What do you say? You want to dive into it?
Yeah, I think so what do you like just looking at Phoenix right off, obviously the heavy hitters were Blaney and Bell and they were up front all day. Kind of thought Denny Bro would be a little stronger. But
They just didn't bring a fast car. They had like a sixth to seventh place
Captain
car.
Obvious. And that
Just
was
saying.
pretty evident.
I mean, I don't know how you do it. When November, you bring the best car. You don't bring it this time, but
That is interesting. How you'll see like comers and goers at a racetrack where it's only like 2 or 3 months away. Like, how did you go to that racetrack and like clean house and then come back 2 or 3 months later like, 5th to 10th? And it happens. Like I've been on that too, where you'll have a car like, oh, just bring that same car back. We're gonna kill him. It's gonna be great. And then you go back, you're like, nah, it never works.
Yeah, I really expected him to be a little bit stronger. I thought he had the best car in the fall last year and probably should have won that race. But do you think, like, the same tire and everything, do you think that the tire is evolving?
No, honestly, I think that horsepower probably played into it. NASCAR gave the more horsepower, and it's depending on what engine builder you talk to, it's
You
30
think-
to 50 horsepower.
Denny's scared of more horsepower? Or not?
No, I think it made the cars drive
kidding.
different.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
definitely probably does. I mean, you would know.
You add a little more entry speed to the corners, and it's a little harder on the tires. A stock car weighs 4,000 pounds almost. That's a lot of weight. And if it enters the corner going, say, 5 mile an hour faster, like that's a lot
Every
more
lap.
stress on the tires. And,
Yeah.
it's every straightaway, so it's twice, twice a lap. And I think that does something to the tires. And I think that probably played into what you saw in the race, where you saw a lot of blown tires. And I thought it was interesting. Most of them were right fronts. I think maybe Briscoe blew a right rear, but most of them were right fronts. And the cars, like the performance window, is right before the tire blows. So you're like, how do we get as close to this as we can? And when you have a field of 37 cars, I think we had on Sunday,
Yeah.
it's kind of goes without saying that one guy's going to guess a little too close. And so, that was me on Saturday. I blew out a tire in practice, knocked the wall
Well, I
down.
watched.
Yeah, you were right there. That wasn't any fun. But then in the race, there had to be like a dozen people that blew tires, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of flat tires. Why do they blow? Like, why do they blow when the caution comes out? Why do
I don't
more
know.
tires go down?
That is baffling to me. So somebody will blow a tire out, yellow comes out,
Then we got
and then
two
you'll
more.
be under yellow, and there'll be like 3 other guys pulled to the left with a flat
Yeah.
tire. Like, did they all time it the same?
Yeah, I'm curious on why. Like, I couldn't.
The only thing that makes sense to me is that they've broke like the sidewall of the tire, and it's got like a slow leak. And when the yellow comes out, it just let's go.
Maybe that's a speed secret. Maybe you get the slow leak.
Yes.
were
So-
teams being less aggressive in the first stage because we didn't have a flat tire in the first stage?
Yeah, I think so. I think most everybody in the first stage
yeah.
was just like, hey, let's just get through this. And that actually builds your confidence. You're like, we made it through that. Let's go a little more. And then by the end of the race, it's like we couldn't go 20 laps. It was like, somebody blew a tire. So I think for sure you get
There's a
more
lot of speed in it, so you're gonna try to get more as the race goes on, and obviously it bites some people. But you get more aggressive with the short runs too, because you probably can a little bit.
Yeah.
Because people are getting. I mean, there's just more yellows. So, and it happened in the fall too, right? Fall's it's the exact same way.
It seemed like the fall race wasn't as bad as the spring race. Maybe I'm not remembering that right, but
No, but that was the first race, I believe, with that tire too, wasn't it?
Yes, it was,
like
yeah.
that. So people probably weren't pushing it as much. So
Yeah. No, it makes sense. But that's what racing is right now on the short tracks. The teams are going to push the tires. They're going to push them too far. You're going to blow them out. And you have to almost have your race strategy around knowing that's going to happen.
Yeah, and we've kind of asked for a little bit to put this back in the team's hands to manage it a little bit because now you get natural yellows.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Which is good.
Yeah, it's good. It's
Like
good
if I'm
it's
a
not
fan
you.
of the sport, when it's not you, it's good. If I'm a fan of the sport and you're like Phoenix, you're like, oh my God, long green flag runs, 60 straight laps, very little passing. And then you throw in all this tire stuff, you're like, oh no, actually that was a classic Phoenix race. And most of the Phoenix races, candidly are kind of like blah. That was not a blah race.
I think Phoenix is evolving into a pretty decent little racetrack. It's got multiple lanes, hard to pass. You can have side-by-side action. Restarts are insane. So,
yeah, I agree. It was a great race. I wish that was like what the championship races were.
Yeah.
Some people disagree with that. But no, Phoenix has certainly evolved. And, one of the things I look at is when I think of Phoenix, I look at Blaney. Like, God dang. He runs up front there every time.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you this story. So in 2012, right after I won the championship, we had a test at Phoenix. And Blaney was driving my truck at the time. I want to say it was it might have even been a 3-day test. And we go to the track, and Blaney comes with me. Now, keep in mind, he's not running Cup at that time. And I remember taking him. I'm like, come with me, man. You need to get good at this track. This is an important track for you. And so I remember taking him. He had to be like 18, maybe 19 at the time.
So it's your fault.
Yeah, and he went there. And I'm really talking to Ryan's commitment. He went with me to this test, and he spent 2 days in the garage area, in the stands, like watching and learning the track. And I don't know, he's just been really good there ever since. I would say it's his best track by a pretty long ways.
I'd say there in Martinsville. I mean, he's got 2 or 3 that are creeping up. Phoenix is probably his best. Martinsville and Loudon now are right there with they're close.
21 starts in Phoenix, 2 wins, 11 top 5s, 15 top 10s.
That's pretty strong, right?
Yeah.
15 out of 21 times he's been in the top 10.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty good. But my favorite part of that story of taking him to that Phoenix test was we get like to the end of the second day. And, if you ever do tests, everybody knows like the end of the second day is like silly time. You get like when there's like 2 hours left in the test, the end of the second day, you're like,
yeah,
we've ran through this list of things we're going to try on the car. And we have more data than we know what to do with. We're down to like our worst ideas because, you prioritize your best ideas while you're there. And you're just like, I don't know what to do. Well, let's throw this at it. All right. So we get to like the end of the second day. We're like done. We're out of ideas. Blaney's sitting there. We're like, hey, Blaney, you want to run a few laps? And now, keep in mind, he's 18. He's never drove a Cup car before.
Yeah.
He's like,
back then,
he's like Ricky Bobby, Talladega Nights. I want to go fast, And we're like, all right, let's go ask NASCAR if you can get it because NASCAR had to prove,
of course,
letting someone drive the car. So we walked over to ask NASCAR.
Well, that's not too hard.
Yeah, the approval process is easy.
Yeah, and, we thought it would be pretty easy. And they were so pissed at us. Like, what do you mean you want Ryan Blaney to drive it? He's not a Cup driver. Only Cup drivers can drive these cars. You guys know that. You shouldn't even ask us that. And they were mad at us that like 4 months later, I want to say it was exactly 4 months later, we got a penalty at Texas for the rear end kind of moving on the car. And we get this penalty at Texas. And in the penalty process, they brought it up. They're like, you guys are always doing stuff you shouldn't be doing. Like when you asked about putting Ryan Blaney in the car at the test at Phoenix. So we're like, what? What does that have to do with anything? Like, we asked. Are you saying that we're in trouble again for asking? Like, this is anyway, so that was my Ryan Blaney Phoenix story. I don't even know if Ryan knows that story. So we're in the penalty meeting, and they're yelling at us about Ryan Blaney not even getting in the car, but just asking about him driving the car. Anyway, that's a bizarre world, but I've got a lot of weird stories like that.
What did you get in trouble for that you got called in there? Was that when you were messing around with Denny? Like kept running?
Man, you got to be more specific. I got called to the hauler a lot of times early in my career.
It was, it was from Phoenix. That's what it was from.
Oh, yeah, when he and I got wrecked each other? Yes.
Yeah, Denny went down on turn 1, shipped you up the track. You go through 3 and 4, and you spin Denny out. So you go into the hauler, and they want to meet with you. You think you're going to get in a lot. Well, you do.
Okay, all right. So you want me to tell this whole story? Okay. So this is Phoenix 2009. Travis, you're going to appreciate this story because it's a Denny Hamlin story.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to appreciate it or not, but
we're beefing. Denny and I are beefing, pretty hard. I'm not even in the Cup Series at the time. I'm in the Xfinity Series, trying to make my way to the Cup Series. Denny and I are beefing. I'm in my last races with Junior Motorsports. And we're like third in points, pretty much locked in third in points. That's about where we're going to finish. So it's kind of like end of the school year. Like you're not going to get a better grade. You're not going to get a worse grade, but you still have to show up for the last 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
And so we go to Phoenix, which is the next to last race. And I think we're running like 5th or 6th. And Denny's running right behind me. And he goes into the corner and he like.
It was a restart.
It's like a restart. He nudges me a little bit, like muscles by me. And I go to the next corner and I dumped him. I did. I dumped him. He didn't like hit the wall, but he just spun out.
He spun out. Old Phoenix.
And we had been trading kind of barbs for like a year. He would say stuff. I would do stuff, And so when the race was over, he went to NASCAR and basically said something like to Helton, "You guys got to do something about it. That's ridiculous." He spun me out. And so I get a call from NASCAR and they say, "Hey, Sunday morning, our hauler, be there. We're going to talk to you." Like, I can pretty much tell you what I'm going to get my ass chewed. Okay. So I show up to the NASCAR hauler Sunday morning. It's the Cup day. I'm driving the car for Roger Penske that day. Is one of my first starts for him. And I go to the hauler, and I'm going to go get my, butt ripped. And I walk in the hauler, and it's Mike Helton. And I want to say John Darby was in there.
Yeah, probably Darby.
And I don't remember if it was Robin Pemberton or Steve O'Donnell. That part escapes me.
You didn't want to be in there.
I did not want to be in there. No,
nobody
wanted to be
when you got called to that hauler, you knew you were in some trouble.
So I go sit down, and Mr. Helton starts talking, and he's like working his way into the butt chewing. Like he doesn't just start with it. He starts with like the, hey, do you want to be here? Do you like this sport? And you're like, I know where we're going. You're just like putting in your time. And so he's like warming up this conversation to a full butt chewing, right? And I could feel exactly where it's going. And about that time where he's warmed up into the, get your straight part of the conversation, Brian France opens the door and walks in. Now, keep in mind, this is a hauler. Smells like cigarette smoke.
Small lounge.
It's probably like the size of this table is this lounge. So there's like 3 or 4 people in here. It's pretty full.
Yeah.
And there's a small refrigerator in the end. So Brian walks in. He like stands in the middle of all of us, and we're all kind of like staring at him. It's Brian France, kind of runs the sport. And there's a little bit of a pause. Then Mike Helton starts talking again. And Brian's kind of like standing right in the middle, and he turns around and goes in the refrigerator. He like looks through there. He's like, "Oh, a bottle of water." I want to say he grabbed like a small Kit Kat or something. And he turns around and just kind of stares at Mike, stares at me as Mike's talking to me. And then he just looks at Mike and says, Whoa. Are we yelling at Brad right now? And I'm like, uh-oh, what's going on? And Brian looks at Mike and he's like, no, don't yell at him. What he's doing is awesome. And I'm like, now I feel like I'm in a mom and dad fight.
It's good cop, bad cop.
Yeah, like I don't know what's going on here. And Mike is Mike's kind of like this isn't how I wanted this to go. And like basically just like kicks me out of the room. Like, just go. Like,
get out of here before it gets worse.
Get out of here before it gets worse. And I'm like, holy did I just get out of that one? Did Brian just do me a solid? What happened here?
So that was the end of getting in trouble.
That was the end of that was that's my favorite Brian France story. And no, he did me a real solid. I was really appreciative of that. Mike and I got over it. I think Mike was really mad. I think that made Mike Helton madder at me. You know what I mean?
Who would you be more scared of being mad? Brian Franson or Mike Helton?
Oh, definitely Helton.
I know.
Yes. Yeah. And to some degree, Mike and I have a good relationship now. I probably call him once a month.
He's a great dude.
About different things. He's a great dude. But at that time, it was like I was 23, 24 years old. Mike Helton ruled the sport with an iron fist, and I was like, "Oh."
If you had a meeting with Helton in bad, like you didn't want to go.
No,
like it was bad.
Did this help prompt Have At It Boys?
It was right before that. Yes. So I'm pretty sure it was Pemberton. Now that you say that was in the room. Ryan Pemberton was in the room. And it had to be like another month later where Have At It Boys came out.
So, fans, you're welcome. Thank Brad and Denny.
I don't know. But I always wondered about that. I've always wanted to ask Mike, now that it's, 15, 16 years later, like,
That was
how did that actually went down when I left the room?
yeah.
You know?
I'm curious to know. It probably didn't go as well as Mike wanted it to go.
No. But anyway, that's my hauler story, my Denny Hamlin hauler story. Denny and I, we had a lot of exchanges at that time.
Dirty Mo Media, Junior Motorsports, and I have a new partner this year, and we couldn't be more excited about this. A lot of y'all may have heard. Arby's has come on board, and we're loving every second of it. And Arby's has entered the chat with a meal deal that raises the bar for value. Introducing the new meat and 3 box for $7.99 that's filled with Arby's quality favorites. Each meat and 3 box includes your choice of one sandwich: the classic roast beef that is hand sliced and slow roasted, the crispy chicken sandwich, or you can go with the crispy fish sandwich. All this comes with the melty mozzarella sticks, some crispy curly fries, everybody loves those, and a peach cobbler roll for dessert. Guys, you got to try that dessert. It's really good. And you get a small drink. It's called Meat and 3, but you're actually getting 5 items, all for only $7.99. Nobody out there is giving you this much value for your money. This is a value meal that won't leave you hungry. You don't have to settle for less when you get more from Arby's. Available for a limited time at participating locations while supplies last. Prices may vary. Get your Meat and 3 box at an Arby's near you today.
Let's get back to
Back to Phoenix?
Well, did you notice the horsepower? So you had it at Bowman Gray, and now you've had it at Phoenix. Are you
Well,
happy?
he didn't run Bowman Gray.
Oh, that's
I
right.
didn't run Bowman Gray, yeah.
Are you happy with the horsepower this past weekend?
Hey, horsepower's great. The crazy thing about the adding more horsepower at Phoenix is cars really don't go faster. In fact, there's an argument to be made they go slower with more horsepower. And we were talking about this yesterday when we had all of our meetings, kind of capturing the Phoenix race. If you look at it, like, the cars are maybe a tenth or two faster at most at the beginning of, like, brand new tires with more horsepower. But at, like, the end of the run, like, let's say we're talking 60 plus laps, they're like 3 to 4 tenths slower with more horsepower.
There's definitely more fall off.
Yes.
Way more.
And I think that's part of what the drivers were trying to say to NASCAR and to the key stakeholders of the sport, were like, more horsepower. Like, when you have a discrepancy where the cars are a little bit faster at the start of the run and slower at the longer run, that just opens up opportunities for more passing, at least in my eyes.
The comers
and I
and goers.
think you saw more passing at Phoenix than you've seen in a long time because of that. And I think that's really the argument for more horsepower. But it's super counterintuitive because, like, if I just said run the 60 fastest laps you can run all by yourself, like, there's an argument to be made that having more horsepower, you actually go slower because you wear the tires more, you do all kinds of things, and by the end of the run, that really hurts you. But then you're like, so if you're listening to this, you're probably like, well, man, why wouldn't you just build an engine with less horsepower? Well, because you get ran over. Like, you can't race around other people. Like, when you have a restart or things like that, if you don't have horsepower, it'll just destroy your car. You'll get ran over, passed, and then you can't pass those guys back. But, when it reminds me when I ran late models, and I had a couple times where we'd run at tracks where, the engine rules were fairly open, and guys would show up with like 750, 800 horsepower at a late model race, and then they'd put a restrictor plate voluntarily on their car. Like, I have too much horsepower, I'm going to put a restrictor plate on because it'll go faster. So it's really interesting to see. It's kind of like reverse logic.
So that's similar to, like, sometimes there's big dirt races where you can bring a dirt modified. You can bring a 358 modified, run with the big blocks because the track slicks off so much you can't use you don't have any use for all the horsepower. So you can do that. Do you think, to me, it's also with this tire, the tire obviously has to be one you can wear out. And I feel like Goodyear's been doing a good job they've been getting better and better at just letting you guys bring tires where, hey, you can wear this thing out. So don't, take care of it a little bit. And I think when you put those things together, you have better racing.
Absolutely. I think Goodyear deserves a lot of credit. I hate it for him because when you have tire blowouts, like, I feel like the fans sometimes point the finger at Goodyear, like, you screwed my driver over with your tires. And you're like, no, Goodyear's doing their part to try to make the racing the best it can be. And that means kind of designing tires that are right at the limit so the racing can be better. And I hate that they get kind of like
Well, they're in the business of selling tires. And if
Yeah.
they're selling tires that are blowing out, that doesn't look right.
It
Yeah,
doesn't
but if
look
you're a
right.
fan that thinks that because
I know it doesn't.
Chase Briscoe blew a tire that my Ford truck's going to blow a tire, that's on you.
The problem is when they write the headlines, they're like tire issues and you know what I
Yes.
mean at this
Yep.
race, and it goes right back to them when it's not really their fault. It's
Did
the
you see their
team's-
tweet that they put out?
No.
I did. Yes, it
What'd
was
they put
good.
out?
Before we go racing, remember the recommended tire pressures weren't guesses.
That's actually really good.
Elijah, did you send that? That feels like something Elijah would send.
That's definitely.
But yeah, I think we need to commend them.
Elijah's like working on the side for Goodyear. Like, we need some good content.
That's actually really good. Yeah.
I can promise you, nobody ran the recommended pressures at Phoenix. Like, whatever they run, there's always kind of like this inside joke in the garage area, like just subtract 2. And you're like, that's probably still safe. So
yeah. But I
promise
mean,
you,
they're
nobody ran those.
why do teams do that? Because there's speed in it.
Absolutely.
Just like back in the
because
day,
we
when
want to
you-
win.
You
That's
could
why.
over camber it. You put too much camber in it, but you can know camber with speed if you ran it. So
I'll give Goodyear a lot of credit. You know, the drivers went to them and said, we want a tire that falls off more. We want you to be more aggressive. They fired back like, well, it makes us look like crap. And the drivers went back to Goodyear and said, kind of made like a pact. Like, we won't say bad things about you if you build us an aggressive tire and it blows out. And like, so I feel like the sport's like,
that's good. Has Kyle Busch tweeted yet? Just making sure.
no, I don't think he has.
Well, then we're good. Good pact.
I mean, the pact is stuck together so far.
yeah, that's
But if
good.
it comes apart, then like everybody loses.
So did you know, like, what else? Any surprises at Phoenix that you saw? Like, I know Blaney and Bell were fast. Denny was decent. Any cars you thought? Did you see anything when you were out there?
The thing that really stood out to me more than anything else was SVG.
Yeah, spinning out twice too.
And he still finished like 11th.
Yeah, how did he do that?
I don't know. I
See that, Travis?
feel like I need to go back and watch his
I know.
entire race on in-car camera. But like, how did you do this?
I mean, I remember looking down and seeing him spinning twice in 3 and 4, and I'm like, he's having a bad day.
Yeah,
And then
he rebounded.
yeah, he rebounded really well. And I thought one person that doesn't get a credit a lot, I thought that had a really good race was Riley. I thought Riley had a really strong race. Did he run up top 15, Travis, a lot?
He was running well until the
He on a crash.
Yeah.
Or something, right.
Yeah, he was actually.
That was one of his better races.
It was probably one
sure.
of the better races that I don't think people probably noticed, but I think Riley drove a really good race.
But I want to go back and talk more about SVG. I got a lot of thoughts on SVG. And
More road courses?
no, not more road courses. But yeah, I guess when I think about SVG, I want to rewind like 3 years ago. So he shows up at Chicago.
Kicks everyone's ass.
I had no idea who this guy was. I got to be honest. I did the track walk right next to him, and I thought he was a fan. I really did at Chicago. I'll never forget this. Like, I'm walking, I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. He's either a fan or a PR guy. And then the next day, he gets in one of the cars. And I'm like, oh, he's one of those guys from somewhere
Ringer.
else, like a ringer.
Yeah.
Honestly, most times, like, the industry doesn't pay any attention to them.
never.
Because they show up, they run one race, usually doesn't go very well. You never see him again. You're like a substitute teacher.
Mhm.
Like, you don't really think about that person. So he shows up Chicago, wins the race, and we're all like, well, he's a V8 supercar guy. It was raining. It was a track nobody's ever ran again.
Street
Trackhouse
course,
has
that's where he
great
came from.
cars. Street course is where he come from. Yeah, absolutely. All those things.
Everything worked perfect for him.
Everything worked perfect for him. And I think for me personally, and I don't know if I speak for a number of people in the garage, but I assume I do. Everybody's kind of like, fluke, one off, whatever, move on. But then Justin Marks is like, no, I don't think so. Let's do something more with this guy. And this is as much about Justin as it is about SVG. And I kind of looked through that timeline of like 2023. He wins the race in Chicago. Justin Marks says, hey, why don't I get you a full-time deal in Xfinity?
Yeah.
Now O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly.
With Colleague. And he does that. And honestly, I didn't think it went that well.
Average.
It went average.
Did okay.
He didn't run as well on the road courses as I thought he would with Colleague. And not that he didn't win, but he just didn't run as dominant as I thought he would run. And the ovals were just kind of blah, right? And so Justin Marks, like in the summer of 24, has to make a decision of what to do with SVG. Now, keep in mind, at that time, he has Suarez, Chastain, Zane Smith. He's got Zane Smith kind of like on a loaner deal.
Yeah,
with
Zane won the
Spire.
truck championship,
Yep,
and then
But Zane was kind of like an up-and-coming star.
Yeah.
He's like, I got to make a decision. I want SVG to be a part of my deal. I got to cut one of these three. It's not going to be Chastain.
No.
Ross Chastain is, in my eyes, like the face of Trackhouse. You know, he's got Busch as a sponsor. He's won races,
He made it
almost
to a
won the
Champ
championship
4.
in
Yeah.
22.
Yeah,
Like,
Ross is he's the solid guy.
so he had to make a decision, all right, between Daniel or Zane. It's like, okay. Daniel had been with the company since the beginning. He keeps Daniel. He cuts Zane. All right, so this happens really in the summer of 24. Now, personally, I'm thinking to myself, Zane hasn't gotten a fair shot. He's been in like a third team that wasn't even a Trackhouse team. It was a Spire team. And by the second half of the season, he actually started running pretty well.
Yeah. And his first Cup start, I think it was with RFK, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, yeah.
And he ran Gateway really well.
So I was surprised when they cut Zane for Shane. And I'm going to just go ahead and say it right here. I was wrong. I like Zane. I think Zane's really good. But I thought putting Shane in, like, all right, so you're going to win some road courses. This is really just a hack to get a car. Not Shane's not a hack. This is a team ownership hack to get a car locked in the playoffs. You're now guaranteed top 16 in points. Your charter value goes up. You're winning races. Your company value goes up. It almost felt like SVG was a prop for the company that brought in more sponsorship revenue, more talent to help make Daniel and Ross run better. Like, that was the way I kind of saw it. But I got to tell you, like, now that 2026 has come along and he's had such a great start of the year, like, I feel like I was wrong. Now he's like, SVG is almost becoming the face of Trackhouse. Like, he's the guy that's going to win probably 3 to 5 races this year.
He's probably going to win, 3 to 5 now.
And I think he's their highest car in points.
Oh, he has to be.
He's
100%.
started the year out
He's
being
top 5 in
competitive
points,
at
isn't
all
he?
4 races.
Yeah, he's 5th in points right
So
now.
where's their next car?
Where is it? God, dang, I don't even
Daniel in
see it.
17th.
Daniel's not there.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
not
my
Daniel.
bad.
It's Chastain.
Ross in 23rd.
Wow.
So, I know we only have like a 4-race sample size, but it's pretty good. And he, like, SVG was kind of like Happy Gilmore if he could learn how to putt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's got this massive drive. He could get into the green. Like, if he could just learn how to putt, which is like the ovals.
Uh-oh, SVG learned how to race on an oval.
Yes.
So
Yes,
he's gotten.
that's exactly what's going through my mind.
I think this is where the experience in, like, he was getting better and better in the rally car at 1.5 miles as well. Like, he was growing in them too. So, and now he's got the Cup car figured out, obviously. So,
I mean, it's dangerous if he gets to where he's just competitive. Like, I don't mean dominant on ovals, but just competitive on the ovals.
Yeah.
And then keeps up his road course kind of like dominance. He's going to score a ton of points.
Well, he's never going to be terrible to road course.
No.
At worst, he's going to be 4th or 5th. At worst.
As long as he doesn't, blow an engine or get
Yeah,
wrecked,
but I'm
right?
saying minus mechanical difficulties, he's going to be in top 5
100%.
regardless.
But
So-
if he can just be like 10th on the ovals.
if he run 10th on the ovals, he's going to run really high in the points.
Yes. And he becomes like the guy at Trackhouse.
And starting the year off at Daytona and Atlanta, getting through those super speedway plate races, and he's already, another thing,
Top 10 in points.
how many times has he spun out this year? He spun out at Atlanta.
A couple.
That's 3 times this year, and he's still top 5 in the points.
Yeah, if you would have told SVG at the beginning of the year in Trackhouse, you're going to be 5th in points after Phoenix. So they're saying, we'll take it. We won't even race. Give us that.
All right, I got to tell you a story because you just made me think something. So he spun out 3 times this year and still hasn't, still getting good finishes. I got to tell you a Jack Roush story. I was sitting with him. This is only a few months ago. So this is a fresh story. And we were actually talking about Greg Biffle because Greg had just passed away, and we were kind of reminiscing about Greg and what he meant to the company. And Jack said something to me in a story that I think this audience would really appreciate. Because if you circle back to like the year 2000, Greg Biffle had won the truck championship. Kurt Busch was his teammate. Kurt got pushed into Cup and Greg got a year or two of the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series.
Yeah. Did really well, though.
And there were a lot of people like, why did Kurt get elevated? He didn't win the truck championship. Why did Kurt get elevated and not Greg? And this was something that kind of like followed Greg's career for a long time. And then Greg makes it to Cup, has a great career in Cup. So this isn't a dig on Greg. But nobody ever really understood, why did you promote Kurt and not Greg the way you did? And so I asked Jack, like, so what was the reason for it? He goes, oh, that was simple. I'll tell you why I promoted Greg
Oh, boy.
and not Kurt. And you have to understand what Jack's like to talk to really appreciate his mannerisms. So we'd go to the racetracks and, we would practice and test and we would do all that. And Greg was like, drive this thing as hard as you can. Kurt, drive this thing as hard as you can. And these guys would go to test sessions and they'd spin out all the time, both of them. And they'd tear my stuff up. And I'd get back and I'd yell at them and tell them, stop wrecking my stuff. Like, in a way that only Jack could do. And so what ended up happening is we'd start going to tests and they would still spin out, but Kurt would spin out and he wouldn't hit anything. And Greg would spin out and he'd hit something. And so I just told Greg, like, all right, Kurt spins out and he doesn't hit anything. You spin out and you wreck and you hit things. So Kurt's getting the Cup car. And
Like
that's
that.
where it came from. Like,
Wow.
that's Jack's story on why Kurt got the Cup car in 2001 and Greg didn't. Because when they'd go to practice and test sessions and Kurt would spin out, he wouldn't hit the wall. And Greg would spin out and he'd hit the wall.
Unreal.
Accurate.
So anyway, back to SVG.
Yeah.
He's had like 3 spin outs this year at least.
Yeah. I mean, I know
And hasn't hit anything.
Two of them were at Phoenix,
It's
and he had
actually
one
really
in Atlanta.
impressive.
So, yeah.
And if Jack Roush was sitting here in the room, he'd be like, that's the guy I want. The
Yeah,
guy who
hey.
spins out, and when he does, he doesn't hit the wall.
5th in points.
Yep.
Way to go.
So anyway,
So
somehow I got a Jack Roush story in there. But I want to bring this back to Justin Marks because I think sometimes he gets more credit than he deserves on things he's brought to the sport, and other times I feel like he gets less credit. I don't think Justin gets enough credit for the vision he had with SVG. He pulled a guy out of another country in a series that most of us know very little about, took a chance on him in a Cup car, then made the investment in him to run, in O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. The sample size was not outstanding. And then decide, I'm going to go buy another charter and I'm going to find a way to get this guy in a Cup car full time. Like, that's pretty gutsy. And it wasn't just like an accident. He went out and found this guy, took a risk on him. And I really respect that about Justin. I don't think he gets enough credit for that.
Yeah. I think Roger laid the groundwork for it a little bit with McLaughlin.
To some
But not-
degree, but
not
that's
to
not at the
a-
Cup level, right?
No.
At
And
the IndyCar level, yes.
yeah, and I think
But nobody was taking a chance on a guy like that.
yeah, and if
We
you
didn't know
were-
how to pronounce his last name when he went to
No.
Chicago.
Yeah. I think I've watched a lot of the V8 races before. I actually kind of followed that. That's how we went to that Australia trip because we were following the V8 supercars in like 07. We were watching them pretty heavily, but nobody ever thought about, let's bring this guy over here and let him race.
Yes.
And those guys in them supercars, man, they get so good at, like, we've all seen his footwork. We've all seen the things that they can do in them cars. That's what they grow up doing and learning. But learning the oval, the air side of stuff was his next challenge. And obviously he's learning that now, and they've evolved their road course program even better. So,
That series is perfect for developing road course
oh yeah,
drivers because, their cars drive a lot like ours.
yeah,
But they get testing in practice. So if you're a young driver over in Australia, New Zealand,
Yep.
in those areas, like you get in those cars and you learn how to do it properly. And when you come over here, everybody you're competing against isn't allowed to practice or really learn how to do it properly. Like we
Yeah.
just get in the car and go race. You have a small practice session. That's it. There's no testing. There's no anything. Those guys are like 2 races a weekend, a couple hours of practice, test sessions.
It's kinda
and
like
they
how we
really
used to be.
develop their
it's
skills.
kind of how we used to be.
Absolutely. It's exactly what Cup used to be.
Mhm.
It used to be the opposite. It used to be those guys had no chance of competing with the Cup Series drivers because we practiced and tested every day of every
Yeah,
week.
we tested so much.
And so if you tried to come from another series to go to Cup, you couldn't touch us. There's no way. This is like secondhand. Now it's the opposite, where the Cup Series is like you get stagnant as a race car driver because you can't practice and test. And it's kind of like what you are when you get there, for the most part, is about what you're going to be.
Yeah.
So it's a different world.
Those cars over there now are much more similar to a Cup car too, with the sequential shifting.
Well, when NASCAR designed the next gen car, they basically went to Australia and said, "We like that," and they went to Dallara and said, "Make it look like that." And the V8 supercar was the template for building the next gen car.
Yeah.
So I've seen SVG with his performances at the start of the season. What's your take on where things stand right now with the start of the season with performance and people they're just focused on points and not winning you're in?
The top 16, there's some surprises in there for sure. I'm more surprised at people that aren't in it. We talked about Ross Chastain. And you work your way down like Kyle Busch, buried. Chastain, buried.
Yeah. Cindric's 30th.
Cindric, yeah. Wow, I didn't realize he was that far back. There's a lot of guys that have had super tough starts to the season. Where's the 19 car, Chase Briscoe? I don't even know where he's at on here. He's had a terrible start to the year.
33rd.
30. That one's probably the biggest surprise.
Zilich is kind of a surprise too.
Yeah, Zilich is a little bit of surprise. Yes and no.
I know he's a rookie, but like Bowman, but obviously
he's had a welcome to Cup start to the season, right? Where you leave a series that you dominate, come to Cup, and you're like, oh my God, this is really freaking hard. So he's going through that right now. But Briscoe, this is a guy that ended the year last year, and I don't know if there was anybody better. I know Denny dominated Phoenix. I know Larson ended up winning the championship. But if you sample size the last 15, 16 races of 2025, Chase Briscoe was the guy.
Yeah, he wasn't a surprise anymore at the end.
And he has started off this year not the guy. Things have not gone his way. It's not necessarily been his fault. I mean, he's broke down 2 races.
Yeah, he doesn't read the map. Sorry, Chase.
If you just read the map, you'd be okay. The DVP map.
Yeah.
So he hasn't had a great start to the season. What's going to be really interesting is with this points format, can he work his way in the top 16? Absolutely. No doubt in my mind. Can he work his way in the top 2 or 3 after having this start to the season?
It's true.
I don't think so. No, I don't think he can.
Yeah, we're gonna find out. There's definitely some comers and goers in this point system right here.
Yes.
Like you're gonna have guys that aren't gonna be as good. We're going to some real racetracks now per se, and they're gonna start having tougher weekends. And you're gonna have guys like Briscoe is gonna probably be really fast at Vegas.
Yep.
So he's gonna start his climb, and you're gonna have guys in the top 5 or top 10 that are gonna struggle. And now,
sure.
Like I do think this point system.
Well, the big thing is the win bonus is so much.
The win bonus is big.
If you win a race, like you're going to climb 5-10 spots in the points.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself checking the points more than you would in previous
100%.
years?
Yes. Because it's more relevant now. Before it was just, it doesn't really matter because you win and you're in.
Yeah, you just aim for the fence. You shoot.
Yes.
I mean, you try to hit home runs.
So I flew back with Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Clint Boyer. TJ, you were on the plane. And it's interesting the different perspectives that just our small group has on the points format. Probably not a surprise. Joey Logano wishes we stayed with the old system.
Shocker.
I know.
Yeah.
Very shocking. And Clint and I spent the majority of 2 different plane rides back and forth to Phoenix arguing with Joey on why we like this new format. And, I am a staunch supporter of the new format. I did not like the playoffs. I made my point to NASCAR in different settings, mostly privately, over the last probably 7 or 8 years about how I thought the playoff format was a mistake. I remember meeting with them. I met with Steve O'Donnell. Gosh, this would have been like 2018, 2019. And I told him, dude, the playoff format's killing the sport.
I liked it in 18.
I'm sure you did. And I remember he said to me, what do you mean it's killing the sport? Well, I had won 2 or 3 races earlier in the year, and I'm like, I'm in the middle of the season. I don't want to say we were like in the dead middle of the season when I met with him. When I said, I'm in the middle of the season, I go to the racetrack, and I'm asking myself, what am I doing here? Like, I have a practice session where I'm like 10th or 15th, and I'm like, I'm not really a threat to win the race. We just don't have it this week for whatever reason. I sit in meetings and they're like, all right, Brad, you don't get the good engine or the good car this week because someone else in the company isn't locked in the playoffs, so they get all the good stuff for this week. And you're like, oh, okay, I guess that kind of makes sense. But don't worry, when you get in the playoffs, you'll get the good stuff because you were the first car to lock in. So you found yourself like in the middle of the season and you'd be showing up at like Pocono or whatever, and you'd be like, all right, so I got like the engine with less power. I got the body with less downforce. I'm 15th in practice. Like, I'm probably going to run 10th today if I do everything right. I'm already locked in the playoffs. Like, it felt like weekend at Bernie's. Like, what the hell am I doing here? You know, like,
Yeah.
it didn't make any sense. Like, I'm just running the race. Like, and that's the deal. And you couldn't even really be mad at the team. You know, put yourself in their shoes. They're like, man, we got to get our other cars in the playoffs. So, you know, this guy's going to have to eat dirt this week. And you're like, so you couldn't really be mad at them. You just felt like trapped by the format. And that was a lot of what was happening. So I didn't like it as a racer. And I didn't like when you got to the playoffs, particularly the last race. Like if you had a bad pit stop, like that was your season. Like, that didn't feel right to me. Or like Harvick had that bad race in 2020. I think it was Martinsville.
Yeah. I mean, it cost you at Phoenix, right?
Yeah, it cost. I lost the championship at Phoenix with bad pit stops. You're like, that didn't feel right to me. And that's not a dig on like Chase Elliott who went on to win it, but you're like, it just didn't. It didn't feel great. So I like this format because I'll go back to what I was saying earlier. Like, there's no race where the team's like, hey, you don't get the good engine, you don't get the good car with this format. And I really appreciate that because I don't feel like we're quote unquote skipping races. So I appreciate that about the format. You know, there's some arguments of, does it provide enough action later in the season? Yeah, I think it does. Everything feels right to me with a format like this. I love how they gave, more points to the winner with this format.
I still want to win.
Yeah, because you still want to win.
Yeah.
So, you know, like a good points day, like you'll still have those, but you don't finish second and say good points day because the gap is too big to winning. So it feels right to me. That's my take on it. Now, if Joey Logano was sitting here next to me, he and I would be like arguing over this. He'd probably be shouting at this point in the conversation.
What is Joey's side of it? What does he see?
Joey's side of it is, you know, the playoffs were awesome because of eliminations.
The Game 7 moments.
The Game Type 7 moments, which I respond back by saying, yeah, but that sounded great, but fans didn't really tune in for that.
Like now it seems like every race is a Game 7 moment.
Yes, that's exactly. Like, to me, NASCAR lives and dies by the ability to make every event a big event, which means you can't have races in the middle of the season where your race teams are like, yeah, we're just punching in on the clock.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
And it does seem like that at times. It did seem like 100%, that at times.
That's what was happening.
Like right now, the highs are higher and the lowers are lower. And that's what you want. You want drivers mad and you want them excited. You don't want drivers getting on the car going, yep, it was okay, and on to
You know
Dover.
what I want, Travis, as a fan of the sport? I want to know that if I spent 3 hours watching a race at Kansas in, you know, the start of the season, and I saw somebody win the race or I saw somebody wreck out and finish last, that mattered. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because the fans are invested. So
yeah, I want to know that if I didn't watch that race, I missed out on somebody winning and getting 10 extra points that might have propelled them to the championship, or I missed out on somebody making a bonehead move that cost them a shot at the championship.
Yeah, like scroll down right here on your point list.
I want to know, like when I go to a race in the middle of the year, that the 3+ hours I invested in it meant something to the championship. Yeah. And it does now. It didn't with the playoff format.
The 2 and the 21 right here. That meant something at Phoenix.
Oh, hell yeah. If I was a fan at Phoenix and I saw the 2 and the 21 car crash, that might have been their season.
And also, like, NASCAR's not going to say this, but there's a chance you get more drama with the drivers after a race. If someone wrecks you and you just potentially ruin their season, you're going to get some confrontation.
Well, that goes back to what I was saying earlier. If I had a race before where I was like, hey, I got a 15th place car with the playoff format, I'm not even in the playoffs in the middle of the season, somebody wrecks me doing something stupid and I finish 30th, you're like, whatever. On to the next week.
Yeah.
If that happens now, like, holy we're pissed.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this.
Like, I'm still mad at Riley Herbst over Daytona because he cost me not only a shot at the win, but he cost me 3 points. Like, those 3 points might be really big.
So does this system now change as a driver, does it change the way you look at things if a guy like Hocevar messes with you?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Like, I remember there
because
was
it's
some
a bigger
run-ins.
deal now. Like, if Hocevar, you get in a wreck with Hocevar,
He does something dumb, whatever.
He tends to wreck in like 10th to 15th, which is that kind of no man's land where you're like,
just trying to salvage a day.
yeah, which is I need to just get through here.
Mm-hmm. And you're fighting your ass off to do it, too.
Exactly. In the old format, no. You're like, whatever. I'm still mad at the guy, but I can't really look at him and say he affected my season.
Because but the old mentality was what? Because you can win next week and this doesn't matter.
Yep. But with
now
this format,
matters.
like, yeah, I'm pissed. I'm like next level pissed. And I think that's what this format brings. It brings an energy of the race matters more every week. And I like that.
It should.
Yes,
It should
I
matter
think that's what
every
it should
week.
be. Yes.
Yeah.
100%. Anyway, I just ranted.
No, I love it.
Was that it? I feel like you ever watch Wind Tunnel with Dave Despain?
Yeah.
Remember they used to have that thing where they'd rant and they had that little character guy bobbling his head?
Yeah. Well, you
I
remember
feel like I was on that.
You went on there a few times, right?
Oh, yeah. I used to love Wind Tunnel.
So he went on Wind Tunnel with Dave Despain, and they would always give you a bobblehead when you did of Dave.
know.
And my oldest, you know what she did?
It's your story. Go ahead. Tell your story, TJ.
She came over, and this is when you lived in a house that Dale owned.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're hanging out there, and my oldest takes the Dave Despain thing and like throws it down the stairs and like busts
She
his head
spiked
off.
him.
Yeah,
Poor Dave.
She threw Dave for a ride.
I got to tell you, I don't think I told you this at the time. That was like one of my prized possessions, too.
Yeah.
Way to go, TJ.
You have to understand, like, I'm a guy who doesn't even keep a trophy at his house. Like,
What?
No, I don't have a single trophy in my house. Like, I have a Martinsville wind clock, which is technically a trophy, yes.
Yeah.
But it's not like a trophy.
So where do you hold all your?
I keep them in my family office.
Okay.
Like, I don't like trophies in my house. Like, I don't want to live that kind of life. Like, I just want to, when I'm at home, I want to be with my family. I want to be with my kids. Like, I don't want to, like, stare at my past accomplishments. That said, when I went on Wind Tunnel with Dave Despain, I'm a Dave Despain fan. And he gave
His
me a
show was good.
bobblehead.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was like $20 made from China, but whatever. He gave me a bobblehead, signed it, and I put it in my house. Like, it was one of my prized possessions. And TJ's daughter comes over like, oh, this is cool.
She wasn't like destructive. She didn't like.
She was
wasn't
a
like
toddler.
I hate
Yeah.
this thing. Bam! It was like kind of an accident, but
And so I got another one from Dave, so we're cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dave Despain, Wind Tunnel, one of my favorite shows.
Do you think when you retire, will you move some trophies into the house?
No.
No. Okay.
No. I'm not going to, like, cut them up and throw them away. You know how Mark Martin has those stories? Like, he threw all his trophies away. They go, wow, that's next level. So I'm not like that far
No.
removed
Yeah.
from it. But
well, Martin sold his. No, I'm just kidding.
so I'm not like, I hate trophies. I don't know. I just don't want to come home
It makes
and
sense.
stare
I
at
get
a
it.
trophy. You know what gets really awkward about trophies that nobody tells you about until you have them? Is after a while, like, not only do they become less meaningful, but they actually kind of hurt a little bit. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but you're like, when I'll see a trophy that I won like 10 years ago, you're like, I remember that day. I wish I was winning like that. You know, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, I kind of like sting a little.
Yeah, but I think that's just natural. I mean,
like, I remember my dad's trophies. Like, he had trophies from like 1986, and I remember being like 10 years old, and by then those trophies were 7 or 8 years old, and you're like, yeah, so you used to be good, you know, like, and people would say stuff like that. You're like, man, I don't want that hanging around me.
yeah, but I don't know, man. I think it's good to look back and know that. I think it's good to look back and know that some of the accomplishments that you do have, like,
In doses, yeah,
in doses. But
yeah.
I mean, as a kid,
I'm on to the next race, man. You went. It's great. You won, like,
yeah. But as a kid, you would have. I mean, your dream is to win all these things.
sure.
So
Like, I'll probably appreciate them more when I'm done racing, but I don't want to look at. You know, I've won Talladega 6 times.
yeah,
I don't want to look at a Talladega trophy. Like, I want to go to Talladega feeling like I've never won there before and I have something to prove. And I feel like when you stare at the trophies, you're like, yeah, I've already done this.
I can see that. I appreciate
I mean, I
that.
can
Like
see
you're wanting to.
I want to enter races and be like hungry, and I don't want any, because I can tell you when you get to the racetrack, nobody there cares what you've done before. They don't. They're like, Once you get there, it's a fresh start, blank slate. Like, you got to go prove it.
But sometimes I think it can be the other way too. Like I look at, Daytona 500, like I've been fortunate enough to be a part of that. I feel like I almost want to win it more now again because of that first one. Like that's kind of the way I
Everybody
see
has
some
their
of them.
different motivations, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at it like I remember that night. I want to win every Daytona 500 from now until I'm done spotting.
Yeah.
So
It's a big one to win.
So
Not that I know.
maybe one time.
Maybe one day.
So off the track, we had a little news brought up again with Cleetus going to be racing with RCR for 3 races, I believe, 1 this year and then 2 next year.
In the O'Reilly Auto Parts
Yes.
series. I'm just going to keep saying that.
You just got to keep saying it over
The
and
more
over
I
again.
say it, the better I'm getting at it.
I mean, there's still people that call it the Busch Series, so
Yeah.
it's just like,
Grand National.
Totally.
yeah. But what do you guys think of the approval process? Because I think that's kind of the bigger topic. It has nothing to do with like Cleetus as a person or whatever. It's about
No, and it's never a personal attack against him. Like
Yeah.
I know Freddie's been hammering it pretty hard, but Freddie doesn't have anything. It's nothing against Cleetus. It could be you trying to come up through here.
Correct.
You know what I mean? It could be me. It could be anybody. And like just the approval process is. Do you think it's broken?
It's got its challenges. Here's what I'll tell you. This is my bigger point of view.
You're running NASCAR. What are you doing?
Those 2 series are meant for guys like Cleetus. Like, that's what they're for. ARCA really should be thrown into that. As long as it doesn't affect Sundays, I think it's probably fine. Like, do I think Cleetus McFarland should be running a Cup car? No, I don't. And I would be really pissed if he got approved to run a Cup car. But he didn't. He got approved to run an O'Reilly Auto Parts Series car. Those are supposed to be developmental series. I don't like the fact that, if there's 4 series, Cup at the top,
Mm-hmm.
O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, Truck Series,
ARCA.
and ARC. Okay. What I don't like is this constant push to make the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series ARCA. Like, we used to have 4 very distinct series with 4 very distinct identities. The Truck Series was like, if you were 35, 40-year-old driver who was pretty
Yeah.
good, but weren't quite Cup level good, that was your home. It
Yeah.
was the Truck Series.
And you were
love
good
that.
at it.
Yeah, and you were good at it. And they went to short tracks, and they were, kind of like arm wrestling matches.
It was arguably the most hard-nosed series because
100%.
when you raced against Hornaday, Corelli, and
it
them
was
guys,
the
like,
hard-nosed 35 to 45-year-old series.
hundreds of wins at short tracks.
Yes.
Thousands of altogether.
That was the place where you went if you were a badass, but just didn't get through Cup for whatever reason.
Yeah, it wasn't where you went to move up.
And now it's the place that you're like, no, this guy's 17. He ran 2 races in ARCA. Let's give him a shot. Like, okay, I don't know if I really like that. All right, same thing for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. That used to be the place where you're like, you're pretty good.
You went from ARCA to O'Reilly most of the time.
Yeah, you're pretty good, but we're not sure you're ready for Cup. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to put you in a race on the same tracks the Cup cars go, with cars that drive kind of similar to a Cup car, but not the same.
Yeah.
And we're going to put like half a dozen Cup drivers in the field against you and see what you can do. That was the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. And by the way, if you do really well, the whole Cup garages here watching, you're going to get a Cup ride very quickly.
And
And
it was
then
a good
ARCA
format.
was a series where we were like, hey, maybe that guy can drive, maybe he can't. Let's go see. Put him on the racetrack.
Mhm.
It was the series for people like Cleetus. The problem that we have, this is NASCAR's industry as a whole, is for whatever reason we completely abandoned the identity of those 4 series, not necessarily the Cup Series, but those 4 series, kind of like the pecking order, has been like thrown away. And it started with removing the Cup drivers from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. You can argue it might have started even before that, now that I think about it, with the Truck Series kind of turning into this mixed identity of older drivers, younger drivers. And then ARCA kind of just changing, and I don't even know what caused ARCA to change, to where, these guys that are 17 or 18 years old that used to run, 2-3 seasons, like now they run like 2 or 3 races.
Yeah. Do you
That
think the
doesn't
cars getting
feel
further
right
apart?
to
To
me.
me, it's the cars getting further apart
That's probably a big part of it, yes.
because you could take a Cup car and run an ARCA race with it
Yeah.
majority of the time.
So is the approval process broken? Look, yes and no. It's not broken at the Cup level. Is it broken at those other 3 levels? Yes. personally, I think that the 3 series should have 3 different approval criterias, being the Truck Series,
What
ARCA,
makes a guy approved?
So here's my opinion. Like, Brad's running NASCAR today. If you want to run ARCA and you're 18, great. Go. 17, 18 years old, that should be your spot to live. If you want to run ARCA and, you have less than 100 starts in any major form or even minor league form of racing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. ARCA's your place. You, in my mind, should not be allowed to run the Truck Series unless you're like, I have 100+ starts across the country.
Yeah, late models,
late
freaks,
model,
anything.
whatever it might be. And then the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, this is my personal opinion, it should be like you need to be 20, 21 years old before you can run that series. Like, that should be the age limit.
Mature level a little bit higher.
Yeah, maturity level a little bit higher. I mean, you're on national TV every week.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a lot to put on an 18-year-old's shoulders. And I'm not saying that no one can do it, but most everyone can't do it.
Do you think
And
that
I
would
really
keep...
dislike, and I've been vocal about this because I remember what it was like when I was 18. I really dislike the idea of 18-year-old race car drivers being in a national series the size of the Cup Series or O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, because it just means you have to skip things in your life that are super important, whether it be your high school graduation or, some of those things that you do in your late teens that are really important to your development as a person. And you get thrown in the fire, I mean, quite literally in the fire of competition, of fans that immediately are going to judge you, social media that's immediately going to just pile on the pressure, and it messes with people.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. That doesn't feel right to me. And what for? So that you can have, 1 or 2 years added to your career? Like, no, just wait till these people are, 20, 21 years old before they go in the Cup and O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Anyway.
I think another flaw in the whole system, it's a bigger discussion, is that these teams need to make money. And so if someone can come in there and offer sponsors or whatever,
yes,
where if the money wasn't as such a high demand that the teams, then they're going to get the talented driver first,
yep,
not the one that's bringing in more money and sponsors.
So at the ARCA level, I don't think it's broken.
Yeah.
The problem is the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series are way too open. And yeah, if I'm one of these guys, I'm going to come in, I'm going to bring a $1 million check, maybe $3 or $5 million check. I'm going to get myself a ride in the Truck Series, Xfinity Series.
Yeah.
I'm going to skip the ARCA Series.
You're going O'Reilly at that point,
I
probably.
can be on TV. I'm on national TV. I mean, the CW is a great deal for these guys.
Mm-hmm.
The ratings are through the roof. I want to be like part of the show. So I don't blame a guy like Cleetus.
No.
I'd do the exact same thing if I was him. But yes, I think the approval process as a whole is actually hurting the sport. And if I was president of NASCAR for a day, I'm not. If I was, I would rip that thing up and start over.
So why, like,
not for the Cup Series.
What should be his path from now, minus this RSR stuff? What should he be? He ran some ARCA last year, ran okay. Should he have to prove himself more in ARCA?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see someone like that. This isn't just Cleetus.
Yeah, this is for anybody. Come
you
along.
You should have 100 starts before you make it to the Truck Series or the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series.
And you're talking
ARCA,
late models,
late
everything.
models, Legends cars, whatever.
So the approval here,
Trans Am cars.
He's supposed to run coming up here, but he goes to Rockingham, crashes in the test, hits the wall in the test, gets approved to run Daytona in the truck race, crashes in the truck race.
The two races honestly don't bother me. Both of those I look at as a race car driver and be like, I've gone the test and brushed the wall. That's not a huge deal.
But I mean, how do you take a stamp
Daytona
resume?
The truck is everybody rest.
6 laps in.
Yes, I mean,
by himself.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't feel right. And again, not a dig on Cleetus.
No, this could be anybody.
But I also put myself in NASCAR shoes, and you're like, how do we tell people no?
Yeah, because he does. I mean,
he's going to bring an audience. Like,
I hope he is successful because
Yep.
he's a great story. I mean, I love watching his clips, and he's
a cool dude.
Yeah, and he's done a lot. Like, I want to see him come in here and be successful, but to me, he is jumping really fast.
Yep.
And I've done a lot of the ARCA races that he's in. He's definitely learning and growing, but I feel like this is a big jump. So,
yeah.
Do you think they should go back to allowing Cup guys to make more starts or run full seasons in O'Reilly?
I think that's a big miss for the sport.
But how many of those drivers are actually even reaching the cap? I think like 2 drivers last year even reached the max.
It's not very many.
I think a lot of these, I mean,
What would make you start an O'Reilly team?
If a Cup driver could run full time. That's about it.
Gotcha.
There's no justification outside of that.
Do you think
because you can't raise enough money to pay for it?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you could do you think you could?
With a Cup driver, I could raise enough sponsorship to actually pay for it. To be competitive in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, you have to beat Gibbs and you have to beat Junior Motorsports, maybe Haas.
Children, yeah.
RCR.
Childress, yes, thank you. All right, if I'm going to compete with them, I need 3, maybe 4 cars. I need to raise probably $15 to $20 million. That's what it's going to take.
Yeah, it's going to take at least that to run 3 or 4 cars.
Yep. So $15, $20 million, that's a lot of money to raise.
Mm-hmm.
I need a Cup driver to do it, or I need a paid driver.
So what would you do with if you had 3 cars, what would you put in them?
You mean like drivers? Or?
Yeah, like who would you put in them? Would you put 1 Cup guy full-time and 2 up-and-coming guys, or what would you put in them?
Yeah, I'd probably put 1 Cup guy in it full-time and 2 up-and-comers. That's probably about right, yeah.
Does that open the door for more, instead of buying rides, does that open the door for more talent coming up?
Yeah, it should, absolutely. Right now you have, like I said, those 3 or 4 organizations in that series that have quality cars.
But if you have a good Cup guy in there and he's running a full season, you can sell sponsorship easier, which allows you to go hire more.
Absolutely.
It allows you to hire drivers coming up.
Like I look at a guy like someone I think a lot of in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series is Parker Retzlaff.
Mm-hmm.
From the outside, you look at it and say, 10 years ago, before NASCAR had the starts rules, would he be in the series? He'd be like, he probably wouldn't make as many starts. He probably wouldn't be a full-time guy, but he would be the guy that raced whenever there wasn't a companion event, and he would get a good ride then. Like, he would have been the guy that we were like, they're in Iowa. Wow, Cup is in Pocono. Who are we going to put in the car this weekend?
This is the guy.
This is the guy.
Yeah.
And he would get a shot in, like, top-level equipment. I mean, top-level equipment. And we'd know, like, what he's really got.
Yeah.
And if he
that
did
might
really
open
well,
the door.
it would open the door to a full season ride in that series or something in the Cup Series. That's how I made it.
Yeah.
Like the standalone events and kind of like crack through. And instead, those guys are stuck in like C-level equipment.
And they'll never have a chance.
And they never get a chance.
Yeah.
Which sucks because I think guys like that are really good. And they just haven't had an opportunity.
Looking back at the past O'Reilly champions, who's been the last champion? Justin, Jesse Love. Jesse's working his way up, but it didn't.
Jesse will be a Cup driver.
He will be. But does it really vault guys like we think, Travis?
Well, Tyler Reddick, yeah.
Yeah, Cole Custer, Ty Gibbs, Hemrick, Cindric, Reddick, Byron, Suarez, Busher,
So
Elliott.
15 is that the last? When's the last time?
I mean, you can make an argument all these guys are Cup drivers now.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, probably the only one that stands out, Custer's gone back and forth, and Hemrick.
Yeah.
Custer's now full-time Cup, but Hemrick is not. But you could definitely say it vaults him. Justin obviously didn't vault, but he's got his own time deal.
And he just got his championship, too.
Yes.
Yeah, he's been in the playoffs and final race so many times.
I mean, it's a good indicator when you win a championship in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, you're going to get a Cup ride. I don't think that's gone away. The question will be, like, Jesse Love is one of those that I question what kind of Cup ride he's going to get, but I think he's going to get one.
Yeah. Yeah, but the problem is there's only so many seats. So.
Yeah, but I look back at a guy like, I'm wearing this guy's name out, Parker Retzlaff, and be like, I want a guy like that to get a shot in A-level equipment. Even if it means he doesn't run a full season. I'd rather, like, if I was Parker, I'd rather run like 12 races in A-level equipment than 36 races in C-level equipment.
Yeah, similar to what Ryan Preece did.
Yep, exactly. And not having the Cup owners in the sport kind of kills that.
Hey, everybody, the 2026 NASCAR season is underway, and it's already shaping up to be another year of hard racing, great storylines, winning moments that remind us why we love this amazing sport. And when it comes to capturing all of that on-track action in collectible form, nobody does it better than Lionel Racing, the official diecast of NASCAR. Their race win diecasts are some of my favorite cars in my own collection. That's because the detail, they look exactly like the car does in Victory Lane. The confetti, scuffs, marks, tire marks, damage, all of it. It's like freezing that winning moment in time and having it right there in your own home and your own collection. Lionel Racing diecast, they're the real deal. And right now, Lionel is offering a free domestic shipping when you use promo code DOWNLOAD26. That's free domestic shipping when you use the promo code DOWNLOAD26. So head over to LionelRacing.com, grab your favorite diecast, and make this NASCAR season one to remember. Hey, everybody. I hope you're enjoying Brad Keselowski as the host for the Dale Jr. Download. I really appreciate Brad being available and willing to come in here and do this. I'm always excited about this idea of having drivers host the show. I'll be back next week, and Ask Junior will be live once again. But we wanted to give you some questions here. Here's some montage. Here's a montage, so to speak, of some of the best moments that we've had doing Ask Junior. So here you go. Xfinity's waving the red flag on internet price hikes, and they're raising the green for savings. It's time to get the speed and the reliability that you want out of your Wi-Fi. You're locked in at one price for 5 years. That's insane. No surprises, no late yellows, straight to victory lane. Just like that, folks, we have a winner, and the winner is Xfinity. Xfinity, imagine that. Thank you very much.
This one's from Kathy, wanting to know about the Talladega Nights cameo, where you asked Will Ferrell for an autograph.
Yeah.
How did that go about? And then people even wanted to know, do you still have the page that he actually signed? Like the paper he signed?
Oh, no. He scribbled. It wasn't like a real autograph.
Oh, really?
But, so
Great, movie's ruined.
I thought I feel like I told this story really recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we filmed. They asked me to come. They asked me to be a part of it. Of course, I was like, absolutely. Thanks for asking. Where do I go? When are we going to do this? We did it at Charlotte Motor Speedway. There was not a race happening that weekend, and we went. I drove over to the racetrack. Completely comfortable driving in there. Been going there my whole life, even when there's not a race going on, you know. So drive into the racetrack and over toward turn 4, the old Cup garage. And all of these campers and little rental campers and stuff are piled into this little blacktop. And there was they were like, just go in there and park, sit around, somehow catch you, somehow grab you, get you going, hair, makeup, whatever it is. And there was a little table with about 4 chairs, nobody sitting there. I just sit down, started thumbing on my phone or something. And I got my head down, and somebody sits down at the table, and I look up, and it's Will Ferrell. And he was like, hey, man, how's it going? Thanks for coming today. And we sat there and just bull for about 5-10 minutes.
That's cool.
And then he's like, I'm going to get going. I'm going to get ready and do this, that, and they want me over here. So he's like, they'll come get you in a minute. And I was like, all right. So we got ready. They drug me over to the, in the infield of the Charlotte Motor Speedway, where it's kind of like the crosswalks, the crossroads of everything.
Yeah,
all the roads sort of converge.
Yes, yeah.
It's very
I think they made it into a roundabout now.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
It is now.
It's like right outside the entrance to the Cup garage.
Oh yeah.
That's where
I know what you're talking
that's
about.
where we were standing when
Yep.
we filmed that little sign my forehead thing or whatever,
cool,
the
yeah.
baby. So they got it. They had about 20 or 30 extras, and we were kind of gonna walk through the crowd and meet. And they had we had our lines that was scripted. He was a little bit of an ad-libber, and he could be free with whatever he wanted to say. So we did probably 3 or 4 takes, and they were like, "That's good." It was very quick, and that was that. I said, "Hey man, appreciate it, thanks." He said, "Thanks," and I went on home. And then if you watch the credits, you'll see more of the drivers and Will doing some stuff, and we did that at Talladega, and that was during the race weekend. They were like, "Hey, Will's going to come in. They want to film just some stuff. Y'all talking. He's going to be in his suit. You're going to be in the garage, and I don't know if they were planning to use it or just see how it worked, but they didn't end up using it in the movie, and I think it just rolls in the credits.
Yeah,
it's kind of like
I know what you're talking about. Yep.
That was a little more tense or nerve-wracking because they didn't have a script. They said, Will's going to just start talking. You just react.
What?
And that was really tough because, I mean, look, man, he's a professional comedian. And I felt like, am I supposed to be funny?
Right.
Or do I try to be funny? Because I'm never going to be as funny as him.
Yeah.
And what the hell do you do, you know? And I didn't want to be a fool, right? And so I was going to try to be a smart ass back. But I was never going to be as good as him. So what the hell, you know? So it was just tough. But it was really fun, really fun. You know, they just basically had us kind of walking from two different directions. We're going to bounce into each other. He said something about like, hey, man, you know, one, I think he's like, dude, you still got that, you got that 20 you owe me? Just, you know, he just would come
He was
up,
just coming up with things.
Yeah, he would just randomly say something, and you're just like, oh, this is where we're headed.
And did you like respond? Like, did you
Yeah,
play
you're
along?
supposed to say something, so
Yeah.
you say something, right? I don't remember what I said, but it was probably not very funny. But and we did that 3 or 4 times, and then he's like, they're like, all right, good, we're good, man, that's good, appreciate it.
Wow. That's neat.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
But to your point earlier of saying like the second part of
Yeah.
having to do those, it's hard to be like funny on command.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he's really good at.
Yeah, I will say this, man. It makes me think about that movie, and I told the story about watching that movie for the first time at Skywalker Ranch with George Lucas.
Yes. Yeah.
And I've seen the movie a couple times, obviously. I always felt like, and I wonder if there's any real truth to this, but that movie to me, the first half of that movie was full of really, really good moments, humorous, quirky, smart comedy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the second half of the movie felt like a completely different movie, still funny, but like it really feels like to me, and it's probably really unlikely, but it feels like there was an entirely different director versus on the first half versus the second half. Like the whole movie felt like it just had this one vibe, and then right at the middle point,
It's like we found a plot halfway through.
Yeah, and then it had a completely different vibe. Not bad, not good, not.
It's different.
It just totally different. Like the whole production crew quit at halfway, and they had to bring in this other one, and it just seems different. But the whole the vibe, like the story, like to your point, the plot sort of just got introduced in the middle of the show, you know. But like the first part of the movie is a lot of just jokes about NASCAR, right? You know, the what do I do with my hands and all of that stuff, and it's all the just quick, witty jokes about our sport, which was really fun to sort of the self-deprecation of NASCAR. And but then the second half, the plot comes in, and you're like, I kind of like the first half better. I was more entertained, I guess, by that. But anyway, still a good movie, and even though it was a joke, we can definitely handle being the butt of the joke.
I was curious what your thoughts were on that.
I didn't mind it. I thought it was good for NASCAR. I thought it put us in front of a new audience.
Yeah.
And yes, it poked fun at us. But I don't know that I don't know that it was not detrimental to NASCAR in any way.
Yeah.
I don't think. And so if anything, it kind of it improved our popularity outside of our own bubble, right?
Sure.
All the people that are already in the tent. But favorite, strictly NASCAR. Favorite NASCAR movie.
What's yours? You go first.
Last American Hero.
Okay.
Last American Hero is Jeff Bridges is the star. It's about Junior Johnson, roughly, loosely, and Junior Johnson's story as a moonshiner and a driver. And I don't know why. I think the reason why I like it is because it was before it was done in 71 or 72, 73, and it's before Hollywood eventually, right, is going to sensationalize. You know, in the as you know, we know when we see movies made about people that we know the story, you see some of the Hollywood sensationalism creep into the story, and they embellish, right, in parts, because they got to make it right. It's a movie. But this was made about racing, about NASCAR, before that was really a thing, I believe. And so it's authentic. It's really authentic. And so, his when they're filming at the short tracks and filming his sort of rise to the big time. It's a really authentic feel. And staying in boring, lonely old hotel rooms and getting in disagreements with, these punks at these local racetracks.
Yeah.
And, and there's some footage of Ralph Earnhardt in there driving at Metrolina that's really neat. But I don't know. I just thought it was it didn't feel like they stretched any truths in that movie.
Authentic.
Yeah, it's really authentic. But some cool actors in it, too. Jeff Bridges, badass.
Yeah.
I mean, back before Jeff Bridges was super, super famous, he played played Junior Johnson in a NASCAR movie. How damn cool is that?
Yeah.
How many movies do you know of, Andrew? Racing movies?
Good question. I mean, well, I will kind of cheat and use the YouTube chat, and I did want to give them a shout out, but I'm seeing a lot of Strucker Race.
There's a
Days of Thunder,
Gary-
obviously.
Gary in here said Strucker Race. I love Strucker Race, and that reminds me too. Gary Busey was in Last American Hero. he's Jeff Bridges' brother, Gary Busey.
Yeah.
But I love Strucker Race. I thought Strucker Race was
It's
awesome.
Strucker Race is
When
an
I
awesome
was a
movie.
kid and it came out, I thought it was amazing, and it's still one of my favorites. Six Pack.
I think I saw, yeah.
Love Six Pack as a kid.
Yeah.
Diane Lane.
Jake
Yeah.
just said
Kids in
six-pack
there.
with about 10 exclamation
Yeah,
points.
Six
Yeah.
Pack
In the
was
YouTube chat.
Six Pack was badass because of the dirt car. That dirt car that Brewster Baker drove was freaking insane cool. That Camaro and the paint scheme on that thing, it was
Yeah.
neat as hell. Brewster Baker is a badass racing name. I mean, just cool. And when you watch those movies, and Love Will Turn You Around, the theme song that Kenny Rogers had for Six Pack, that's in my rotation. I listen to that today. the opening guitar on Love Will Turn You Around, freaking awesome.
You listen to that today.
Yes, it is my favorite Kenny Rogers song, and I have many.
Yeah.
But I thought it was cool that Burt Reynolds. I mean, in when Burt makes Strucker Race, he's coming off of all of those badass movies that he's making, Cannonball Runs and all of that stuff, and Smoking the Bandit. He's coming right off of that, and could have probably done anything he wanted, and he made a racing movie.
It's awesome.
It
It's
is.
a big deal. That's
Yeah.
a big compliment.
It was
Yeah,
it was
especially then.
big. It was really, really big for us to be, I mean, if you're a fan, I always looked at it like, yeah, man, they're celebrating this niche thing that's happening in this little small corner of the country, and they're shining a light on us.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and so I loved all those movies. I don't think that I loved Days of Thunder. Thought it was cool. The rumors around that
Number
maybe,
2.
yeah, having a number 2. I'm down.
You're down?
I mean,
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Be so cool.
Yeah. We ran the duel, and we got ourselves locked in, go and do media and all kinds of crazy stuff. We're having a great time, and the second duel is running. And
That's me.
Huh?
I'm in the second one.
Yeah. And I'm walking through the bus lot, and somebody goes, "Hey, Eric Jones won." And I sent Jimmy Johnson a text, "Congratulations." And I mean, literally, they're probably just still coming around the cool down lap. So I know that Jimmy's not
Yeah.
got his phone. And then they were like, "Oh, nope, Austin Cindric is the winner." And I was like, shoot. I grabbed my phone and I went to that text and I held it down and I said, "Unsend," and it goes poof. So Jimmy saw that I have an unsent text message to him, but he has no idea what it was.
So has he responded to it yet? Well, now you could text him. I mean, finish third, so now you got a reason to
Yeah.
text him again.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
I was like,
that's-
"Thanks for this feature. This is nice."
it should take it completely out of their list. Because if-
You
know what I
get
mean?
a notification that you have an unsent
yeah,
message.
like it should be gone
I think
because
it depends on how fast you remove it. Maybe.
I
Oh.
don't know.
Here, do you want me to send you a text and then?
No.
I think it's going to show up as an unsent message still.
It says
Here.
unsent. Yeah.
Yeah, no matter what, which is sketchy.
You unsent a message at 10:10 p.m. Thursday. That's what it says.
Do you have the YouTube chat open?
Oh, I don't.
Oh yeah.
You had one job.
You know what's terrifying about the
I know we're
unsent?
live yet. or-
Yes, we are live. What's terrifying about the unsent text messages if they haven't updated, like say their computer it still will go through. So there's a chance you still congratulated Jimmy on one of his other devices.
Yeah, that's probably true. Damn.
Good to know, Andrew.
Well, thanks, Andrew.
You definitely haven't been in any sketchy situations.
Yeah, it sounds like Andrew had an incident recently where he sent a message.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to, hold on, I wrote their name down, Blythe, and they're watching this at school right now. I think they're watching it in class. So
Who?
Blythe was their name?
What grade are we in?
I don't know.
We better watch
They're
our-
in the YouTube chat, but
Better watch your mouth.
yeah,
That's any cuss words.
I
I'm
don't
not
know.
sure what grade
I feel
this
like
is.
if you're watching Ash Junior at school, you have access to a computer, an iPad. You got to be old
Okay.
enough,
It's
right?
a good teacher.
School's different these days.
It is.
I used to, gosh, when there were rainouts and it was a Monday race, I remember having to sneak either like listening to the radio with some headphones or watching it on my phone or computer. I don't know.
I got
you guys
in trouble.
ever do that?
I got busted for it.
You did,
Yeah,
TJ?
social studies class. My teacher busted me listening to the duels.
Oh my God.
I was listening to the duels.
Oh my God. I
What?
don't know if I should share this live.
Oh,
Did you
Oh
get
my
busted?
gosh. No, I did in school.
Yeah.
So listen, I'm gonna tell it. So, dang man, I can't believe this. So, you were asking me about that shoot. This will be the best thing we do today. We were
the Prime shoot.
that Prime shoot.
Yes, yeah.
So I'm at this Amazon Prime shoot Friday, and when I was, and this young guy walks up to me that's working on the shoot, and he goes, "Hey man, you went to school with my dad." I was like, "Really?" He goes, "I was like, what's his name? Because I'll probably it might ring a bell." He mentioned his dad's name, and I was like, "Yeah, can't say I can remember or even put a face with that." He goes, "Southview Christian School," and I was like, "Damn!" So I went to a lot of schools, right? And right around, I'm going to say this was 7th grade. At the very beginning of my 7th grade year, there's a Southview Christian School that's on the way to the Statesville Airport. I pass by this school twice a week at a minimum. I pass by it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Dad and Teresa sent me to that school with Kelly beginning my 7th grade year. And I had been going to another school in Statesville for a couple years, and that I don't know why that ended, but probably something I did. But Southview Christian School, I believe that's the name of it. So I drive by it all the time, and I only went there 6 months. But I remember, and I've said this to Amy, I'm like, that school in that 6-month period was my favorite experience as a kid in school, because every other school that I went to kind of had little groups. And
cliques.
you were part of this clique, and you weren't part of that. And this was the popular kids and the preps and the jocks and and everybody had their little space. And you just wanted to get in one, right?
Especially moving around from school to school, that has to be really tough.
Yep. So you just wanted to be in some group, right? And have your little group of friends that you saw every day and hung out with every day. Not in this school. In this school, there was probably, I don't know, it felt like there were about 18 to 25 of us in our class. Everybody felt like they had the exact same level
Wow.
of stature, and as soon as I got in there, man, everybody was fun, friendly. We all goofed around and joked around and got in trouble and talked in class, and but it was like I was brought in and accepted immediately, and it was just a really great class.
Yeah.
And I remember where our classroom was up in the top of the gym, and I remember immediately connecting and making like 10, 12 friends right away and just having a great time. And I was going to get expelled because if you get
that just took a turn.
it was going really good, and I was having so much fun and making so many good friends like easily.
Yeah.
And I was probably trying too hard and being too much, acting out too much, talking in class. If you got rode up 8 times before the winter break, that
have
was
to
it.
leave.
That was it. You'd have to leave.
Mm.
I get rode up just right before the break. It wouldn't process till we got back. My thought was I was going to be expelled when we returned from Christmas
So
break.
you got your 8th write-up right before break.
And in my mind, I'm going on Christmas break. My parents have no idea that when I go back, I'm getting expelled. And so my gut is, I'm getting an ulcer worrying about this, right? Well, little did I know that they had already planned to send me to military school. So when I get home, they're already going through pamphlets for military school on the floor. And I'm like, I'm kind of like, well, I can embrace this military school idea and not have to ever
Tell them about
get in trouble about getting expelled. They'll just pull me out. I'll go to military school, not expelled, no problem. Don't love military school. Don't love that idea.
but I wasn't expelled.
What is it? Yeah. Well, so I remember the last thing I got wrote up for was I was having a conversation with a guy in the chair behind me, and the teacher wrote me up. And I was like, gosh, this is so trivial, but this is number 8. I'm going to get kicked out. And he's like, I don't care. I was like, come on, man, this is going to expel me.
Mm-hmm.
This is such a small thing. I remember making a case for myself.
You fought it.
And but this gentleman, this young guy that I met at the shoot, he goes, yeah, my dad and you and 2 other guys. He named these 2 other kids. He's like, y'all hung out every day. Y'all were friends, and y'all spent a lot of time around each other. He's like, I was like, yeah, man. I was telling him the story about getting rode up and getting in trouble, and he's like, my dad told me one of the times that you got in big trouble, you brought a Playboy magazine to the classroom.
Now,
And I was like,
All right, there
my
it is.
jaw hit the floor. I was like,
no wonder you were so cool.
yeah, I don't remember that. And he's like, yep, that's what Dad said. Dad said you brought it to.
Who's on the cover?
Brad, he's like, you brought it to the classroom
It was a
and
centerfold.
you whipped it out, and we're looking at it.
You whipped it
Whoa,
out.
whoa, whoa.
The Playboy?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Stop it.
Sorry.
So you pull the play. I'm like, I can't believe that this is even possible.
Brought it
That
for
I
the
would-
reading material.
That I would do this in a Christian school.
I can't
Of all
believe you
places.
forgot about this.
I can't believe. I
core
don't
memory.
I can't believe it either.
No wonder you had all
I
that
don't
friends.
know. I think he's.
What do you think the other 6 write-ups were for? Then one was for talking to somebody, one was for a Playboy. What were the other 6?
I don't know. I believe
Smoking
I
cigarettes.
know, that's what I was saying, dude.
EJ, that's
Oh
no
my
wonder you had
gosh.
so many friends.
Chat, what do you think Dale got in trouble for? Give us the 6 reasons, chat.
Oh
Man.
my gosh.
I just can't believe that. I can't. I forgot what a wild menace I was.
When you said I was gonna get expelled, I was like, man, what could you have done? Now it's fully
Yeah.
understandable.
Yeah. So that's what I meant. Like things were going so well. I was having so much fun, and so I was trying too hard.
Sure.
And I knew Dad had that stash in his bathroom, and I'm like, man, I'll take one of them to class.
I was gonna ask you, did you
Oh,
talk about it beforehand?
No, I'm like, my buddies
I'm
are
bringing
gonna
it.
love this.
They did.
And so I'm assuming if it really did happen, that's
What do
how
you mean if it really did happen?
I'm not. I
Like,
don't
do you
remember
believe you
this.
did this?
I
Yeah.
don't recall it.
Do you remember your dad's stash?
Yeah,
It happened.
It happened.
Kelly.
It definitely happened.
Yeah. So, Kelly,
might just wanna
Kelly
admit it.
says it might have happened, but I couldn't believe that, man. So I'm pretty sure that was not the 8th and final punishment.
That was probably like number 2.
That was probably in the middle
That was
somewhere.
4 through 8.
Yeah.
That counted as a bunch.
Every
more than
time we
one.
showed it to
I
another
really
student.
messed up. I really messed up.
So
Hey,
did they
hey,
ever,
I appreciate you owning up to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
did they ever find out though that you were going to get expelled? So that they never found that out.
I don't believe so.
Well, that's good. That's a win.
Yeah. My my whole reason for like sharing this story and continuing the conversation with the young man at the photo shoot, well, I was like, hey, I bought some yearbooks from my dad's high school days because it's just cool to have an old yearbook from his 4th grade class, and there's Dad in his little 4th grade classroom. You know, it's funny to see Dale Earnhardt dressed up
Yeah.
as a little, 10-year-old school kid. And I found some of his yearbooks from his elementary school because he quit school in the 8th grade. But I found some of his yearbooks from like 5th, 6th, and 7th grade, and I bought them on eBay and kept them. And I've been looking for the yearbook for this school, Southview Christian Academy, from my 7th grade year, whenever that might have been.
Half of it?
I do know that Living on a Prayer had just came out.
Oh.
Like we were all singing that song up and down the road, going to school and back. So like Bon Jovi had just blown up with Living on a Prayer. I do remember that.
That's cool.
So hey, we had Bon
86.
Jovi, Living on a Prayer. We were taking Playboys to school.
I just realized
I was living on
What
a
a
prayer.
time.
What a time
That
to
was
be
theirs.
alive.
Bill's
Oh my
motto.
God, I'm jealous.
brought a Playboy to a Christian school. Like, it's not just a regular school here
That's
either.
rock and roll right there.
Dude, you had to be
But
the most
what
popular kid.
What I want is to be able to get the yearbook from the school relatively around the time I was there. I left the school before we did class photos, so I'm not in it. But I do want to see
The
my
others.
class
Yes. Yeah.
because I drive by this school twice a week at the minimum, and every day since I was a 7th grader, I've thought about this school and those kids in that class that I was with.
Wow.
And how great my experience was in a very brief time I was there. And I just want to see their faces because I know when I see them, I'll go, that was one of my friends. That was one of my friends. I remember those two. They were great.
And then do you ever like, what are they up to now? Like,
Of
where
course.
are they? Yeah.
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 Too bad you're not in the picture, though, because they'd be like, that's the guy that brought the Playboy.
yeah. Dale took the picture.
I did reconnect with some. I got my yearbooks from my 10th, 11th, 12th grade senior high school days, and I did reach out and reconnect with some of those.
That's
folks,
awesome.
Some of the, and I'm hey man, let's meet for lunch.
Wow.
You think you got in trouble for the Playboy in '86? You said.
Maybe.
Do you want the? Do you want,
86 was when Living on a Prayer came out.
Okay, good. Yes.
Sherry Arnett could have been one of them. Julian McCullough.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, awesome. So you can go look at it. I mean, and most people that are watching this probably may have already seen it. But Brooks, I think Marty McGee,
Yeah.
had a conversation with Brooks and Dunn, and Kix Brooks. Both of them, I think, are on the boat. They're fishing out in the ocean. They got their wives. It's a big deal. Dad had probably about a 50-foot boat or something that he takes out there, and they're fishing. And Kix Brooks is telling the story about how Kix is tired of fishing. They've caught a lot of fish. He's just like, I'm ready to drink some beer. I'm done. But they hooked a sailfish, and Dad's like, get your ass out of here. And they reel it in, and Dad's all excited. It's a pretty cool story. And then they bring the fish in, take photos, do all the stuff, and then for some reason they're throwing a bunch of chum
Yeah. They were chumming the water.
into the water, and Dad's like, Kix, come over here and look at these turtles. And Kix is like, oh yeah, I do want to see the turtles, and gets over to the rail, and Dad grabs him by his pants and throws him into the chum, and then tells the Captain Terry, who I remember Captain Terry, all right, drive away. And they drove away with Kix's wife going, what are we doing? Ah! And Kix is in there like trying not to splash. He's just like, don't move.
Because there's blood in the water. I
Yes.
think he said it was shark infested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they drove away.
so
they drove
pissed.
away.
I know.
Right?
Oh, my gosh.
Like, what if something really did happen?
I know.
Holy
What if Brooks and Dunn? They,
yeah.
Brooks and Dunn.
Damn. Like, that's
serious.
that's not a prank. That's just
some bull.
It's mean.
Yeah,
That is
Yeah.
some bull, Dad. I mean, if that story is absolutely true as told, I would be furious.
James goes attempted murder.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we haven't went that far. That's pretty.
And he
pretty
said
harsh.
he said the boat got far enough away to where like you could barely see
I
it,
don't
and
believe-
then it
I
became
think
funny to turn around.
He's embellishing
The fishing
some.
story's getting a
yes,
little-
right. I mean, let's be serious here. It's still a criminal offense, but I remember one time there was an individual that was a tire. He was the tire changer. He was a very good tire changer. Dad's team had just hired him to change tires on the Xfinity car. This was in the early 90s. And his nickname was Yankee. Scott Kaluka was his name. Awesome guy. And he would eventually become a tire changer on the Cup car. But I remember his like path to like becoming the changer on the Xfinity car, earning everybody's respect, getting called up, like a Major League Baseball guy to the Cup team, and how big a deal that was, and how much better Dad's team got on pit road because of it. But when he first came, he was really a smart ass and young guy around Tony Sr., Dad, all these gruffy old veterans that knew everything, and he come in there running his mouth and being a smart ass. And I remember, I don't know how this happened, but Dad was in the parking lot shooting his bow and arrow, his compound bow for deer hunting, and at some point, Kaluka showed up, and he's being his smart ass self, and said something, and Dad's like, whatever Dad said or did, Scott turned and took off running across the parking lot, and Dad fired an arrow about 8 foot over his head.
Oh my God.
And Dad told him he was going to shoot at him. And so,
Well, it's okay then.
yeah, that's the details are sketchy, a little fuzzy. And then there was another time where there was a guy, the carpenter, his name's Todd. And Todd's an amazing carpenter, longtime employee at Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. Dad loved him. And Todd built Dad's log cabin single-handedly.
Jesus.
I went in there and helped him a little bit with some stuff in some of the closets and did a little work, but that guy was down there every day building that thing on his own.
He had a woodworking shop there, didn't he?
He eventually would end up getting a woodworking shop in DEI.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a main figure, and
Wow.
Dad leaned on him, and he's still around. I still talk to him. He loved Fords. Dad didn't love Fords. We were Chevy people. But Todd wanted to street stock race. He had raced some street stock stuff in his past, and just coincidentally, me and Carrie are building a street stock, and so right out at the Deer Head shop, that was really the only thing around in the property back then, was the Deer Head shop. The garage Mahal wasn't built yet. We would get our street stocks out of the barn. Todd had a Ford Thunderbird, big box, the 83, 84 Ford Thunderbird. And I had, me and Carrie had a little Monte Carlo, 78 Monte Carlo. And we pulled them street stocks over there, and we'd start working on them. We're getting them ready. We're building them. We're not racing them yet. Todd's in his car, tacking in the firewall for the back. So big old sheet of tin, he's tacking it into the back of this car, covering up all the holes in the back of the car. And he's in the interior. And Dad had been out on his farm, and he walked around with a 6-shooter on his hip. So he had a pistol on his hip at all times when he was out on his farm. And so it's probably 5 o'clock. Everybody's starting to converge on the Deer Head shop. There's going to be beer drinking and pizza and bull. Mm-hmm. The Tony Sr. and them been working on the Xfinity cars for Jeff Green or somebody, whoever was driving the cars at the time. And so we get our street stocks out. It's after 5 o'clock, and we can work on them. And Todd's working on his, and I'm working on mine with Carrie. And Dad walks by, and we're building the cars. Dad walks by, pulls his gun, shoots a hole through the quarter panel of this Ford. The bullet goes through the quarter panel and through the fuel cell. And it scares the shit out of all of us.
As it should.
Yeah. And Dad says, you got to get a racing fuel cell. So now you can't, he's like, it's dangerous to run this stock fuel cell, and I've now fired a hole in it, so you can't use it. I want you to put a good fuel cell in these cars so you guys don't get burned up, And
Safety first.
yeah, safety first.
Brilliant.
It was loud.
Well, yeah, it's a gunshot.
Just shot at it.
Just shot a hole right through the quarter panel. And so Todd raced that car with a bullet hole in the quarter panel.
That's badass.
It was awesome.
That is
Yeah.
badass.
I raced that Ford once.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I was, a year after this, I moved on and was racing my late model stock car with Gary Hargett down in Myrtle Beach. We had an off weekend. I was up at the farm shop, like a Friday. And Todd's messing around, and I'm like, you going street stock racing this weekend? He's like, nah, I don't feel like it. I'm like, can I take your car? He's like, I was like, you can't believe you're not going to go. He's like, yeah, you can take it. And so I loaded it up, and I take it, and I'm practicing, and it's pretty simple to drive. And we all drew for position. We didn't even qualify. And Kelly's in the race. Kelly's in our old car. She's driving this old tore-up Monte Carlo me and Carrie's destroyed. Kevin Pinnell, Two Beer, he's in the race. He starts in front of me, Two Beer.
Yeah.
Two Beer drove a purple Nova, number 4. Purple with a white 4 on it. Green flag, Two Beer missed a shift, and I knocked the radiator out of this Ford.
Jeez.
First damn thing. Like, I didn't even get to run the race. Todd ran really good in it. Todd would run top 3. And it drove.
So you were looking forward to it.
It drove really good, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hell yeah, here we go. And damn, got the green flag, and Two Beer didn't go. And I just drove through him.
You just weren't meant to drive a Ford.
Yeah.
Right. What was
Two
his
Beer had
reaction?
that damn shifting problem we sometimes see in the Cars Tour on a restart.
What was Todd's reaction to you busting up the radiator?
He was
fine.
kind of over it at that point.
That point.
Yeah, he was kind of
Yeah.
moving
Did
on.
you fix it?
I don't know if we probably did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I love those stories.
We were putting a radiator in. We were taking our radiators to Alton Boyd's.
Yeah.
Alton Boyd's,
Yep.
whose Tab is his son, the spotter that was recently in the news. Well, his dad owned a radiator shop in Kannapolis, and that's where we always take our radiators back in the 90s that we raced our street stock cars. Dude, we had the radiator. Me and Carrie would take the radiator out of our Monte Carlo every week, having to fix a hole in that son because we knocked the damn nose off of that car every race. Me and Carrie tore that Monte Carlo all to hell. And then, I mean, the front horns on it were bent left and right so many times and pulled straight. And then, you know, the radiator was all gobbled up with like welding and glue and all kinds of patchwork. We're like, you know, Alton's like, yeah, I can fix it. All right, keep fixing it. You know, all right, I can fix it. I mean, we're waiting on him to tell us, like, all right,
You need a new one.
Yeah, you need a new one. And then Kelly was forced to drive this thing. Like, when she wanted to start racing, they were like, all right, you get to drive the Monte Carlo. And there's pictures of her driving her first race, and this thing looks like it has been through a war zone. That Monte Carlo is still sitting on the property over at DEI.
Wow.
Out by a farm, out by a shop, I believe. I wonder if there's some Google Earth shots or something of it sitting beside the.
Oh, so it's like outside?
It's outside, yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, I'd love to have that car, but yeah.
What kind of condition you think it's in?
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Already to begin with, and then you leave
but
it
I mean,
outside.
it's in the condition it deserves to
Right.
be in, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't restore it or anything. You'd just love to have it because it's like me and Carrie learned everything about trying to get around a corner in that very car. That was like the real first race car we raced. Man, we would burn up we took that car, we built it, we didn't know what the hell we were doing, and we rebuilt it had like a 283, not even a really great motor in it. We rebuilt that motor, blew that motor up the first race, and had to build another motor. We would burn the wheel bearings up every week. We didn't know why. Dad wouldn't say, hey, you might want to get a spindle off of a Cadillac or something else that was a little beefier for the right front. And we would burn up the wheel bearings and go to the damn junkyard and climb under some old rat-infested, snake-infested car that had been sitting in this graveyard forever with our little tiny toolbox and get a damn spindle off of the car. And we'd pull springs. And we had a junkyard sponsorship.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
And we'd get all this stuff, and we'd get ball joints or lowers and uppers because we're bending all this every week. And we'd go to the junkyard and get a replacement part and get another part, and we'd come back and, you know, we'd fix it and put it together. And Dad was never there going, you might want to think about doing it this way, or you might want to do it this way. You know, he wanted us to just screw up, right? And
to learn.
Figure it out, right?
Yeah.
And, man, it was fun. All right, NASCAR fans, listen up. Xfinity's waving the red flag on internet price hikes, and they're raising the green for savings. It's time to get the speed and the reliability that you want out of your Wi-Fi. You're locked in at one price for 5 years. That's insane. No surprises, no late yellows, straight to victory lane. Just like that, folks, we have a winner, and the winner is Xfinity. Xfinity, imagine that. Thank you very much. Hey, everybody, you want the latest Dale Jr. download apparel? Visit shop.dirtymomedia.com. We're always adding new stuff all the time, especially like when we say something silly on this show. We'll put it on a t-shirt. Again, check it out at shop.dirtymomedia.com.
This segment of Dirty Mo Dough is brought to you by FanDuel. And reminder, like Dale and TJ, I can't bet, but I can help give you some advice. So Travis is still with us, and joining us is now Tampa Tim's.
Hey, what's up?
What's up, Tampa Tim's?
He's our resident degenerate gambler.
Yeah.
Yes.
We all have one of those in our family. We now head to Las Vegas, and the betting favorites are Kyle Larson at plus 500, Denny Hamlin and Chris Ravel at plus 700, William Byron at plus 850, and Tyler Reddick at plus 900. Tampa Tim's, what do you see? What stands out?
I actually like Larson. I hate betting the favorite, obviously.
Say
but
this every week. Shut up.
No, I never say Larson.
I don't know. I feel like you're always
Well, listen,
fanboying it.
the favorites win most of the time. So a plus 500 in betting is a very good number still. That's always been my stance. But he has like the best average finish here. But my best bet is not to take him to win. It's top 3. It's plus 150. And of his 6 top 10s at Las Vegas, 5 of them have been top 3s. So if
So he wins or wrecks.
If he's a winner or a wrecker.
Are you guys worried at all about the Chevy body and their performance, or is that just typical Phoenix how they race?
I don't think the body has anything to do with not running as well at Phoenix. I think they're going to be great. I think the Toyotas look really strong to me as a whole. They finished out last year at Vegas really well, so they'll be a big threat. I think you're looking at a Toyota Chevrolet duel.
TJ, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't. This place is kind of weird. It's got a couple of guys that seem to always find their way to the front here as well, and I know Blaney and Joey seem to be really good here as well. And then, last year Josh Berry. So I don't. That could be a long shot. So
Yeah, I actually think the guy who almost won, Daniel Suarez, is a better long shot. My problem is Spire has speed every week. They don't really finish it off, though, which is like the one caveat to betting any of their cars is they seem to always have a problem during the race.
But I don't know, man. Do you see any change with the points, how it is now? Does it change any of the way these guys are racing?
Like, if you look at their 3 drivers, I think McDowell is the most consistent, right? Hocevar, yes, he's got the most speed, but either he runs into somebody or somebody's going to run him over him, basically. And Suarez, I feel like it's more mistakes where he kind of gets put back in a bad situation and then he's involved in the wreck that happens.
Yeah.
So I feel like the point system doesn't really matter with them. It's more like they're kind of their own, self-deprecating factor.
Yeah. I do think Bubba could be pretty decent here and Briscoe as well, like you have on here. I think that's that car is always fast here. So, and Briscoe's proven, like we talked about earlier in the show,
Briscoe's due
proven,
for a big rebound.
Yeah.
The car hasn't lost speed putting him in there. He's held up to his end of the deal, obviously making the Final 4 last year as well. So,
yeah, I think most of this has just been car problems, not necessarily a speed problem, with Briscoe.
Yeah.
So I don't think that hurts it. Bubba actually averages like a 22nd place finish at Vegas. So I would go Briscoe, except in the gambling terms.
Well,
I think
if Larson would quit wrecking it would be better.
I know.
I'm really interested about Tyler Reddick. I feel like he's had a couple really good races at Vegas lately. He's been really strong. He hasn't really necessarily got the finish. He had that big wreck. Remember that we were in with him, TJ, a few years ago, where he like almost flipped down the front stretch?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
but he was like the fastest car that race.
Yeah.
Then he had another race where I think it might have been last year. He was running second and was faster and just couldn't get by Larson for the lead to win at the end.
Yeah, this is a big race for Reddick in my eyes, just to see how he handles it. If he has the speed, does he push it too far and have the accident, or does Tyler take if he's running fourth, did he just take his fourth?
Yeah.
He's got 12 starts, 2 top 5s, 6 top 10s.
But I feel like that doesn't really tell the picture of how good he's ran the last few times at Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So last year, let's see here, was 8th. Or no, that's the stage finish. 5th was in October.
Yeah. I think so. I'm interested to see what you guys think. Obviously, with the 3 wins and the new points format, he's way out there. Do you think that gives him the most confidence to go into a track like Vegas, and there's absolutely no pressure with him now?
I think his cars are super fast. That gives him a lot of confidence.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
If
I mean,
Tyler
like crazy fast.
if Tyler can drive at a 8 or 9 out of 10 for the next 30, whatever races, he's going to be really hard to beat.
Yeah, he's like 10 Cup right now.
Yeah.
Like he's got like a 3-hole lead.
Yeah.
Just lay up,
He
put it
doesn't
on
have-
the green. You
Doesn't
know
have
what I
to
mean?
push it. Yeah, he could just kind
Just
of.
put it on the green,
Yeah.
dude.
I'm not 100% sure when – I'm sure it got ran when the models for this format, but not many times did the winner of the first 3 races be the same. So this I'm not sure this will ever happen again either.
No.
So
But
this
he has
is,
a huge lead. You're like,
yeah.
put a
So-
couple pars on the board and
But he can do that. But Tyler's had a problem in the past, and I've seen it. I've worked with him. Tyler sometimes just, like when he runs the fence, sometimes he just overdoes it and takes himself out of the race. So
and Phoenix is one of those places where, you get too aggressive and you're in trouble quick.
Phoenix or Vegas?
I'm sorry, Vegas.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
about that?
Mississippi.
What's the hard part, or what's the part that like where they'll separate a good driver from a great driver on that track?
So when I think of what separates a great driver at Vegas from a not so great driver, it's the ability to move lanes. Like you're gonna get stuck behind somebody in traffic at Vegas, and it was part of what I like about Tyler is he's really good at moving on the racetrack, and so he'll find a way to move and get some grip and go. The problem with that is usually when I say you have to move on the racetrack, that means you have to run like a dangerous line, like up against a wall in 3 and 4, and if you miss that by a little bit, you're in the fence. So link. Bent.
Track position.
Yeah.
Gone.
What's your thoughts about your ability on Sunday to go out there and?
Yeah, I'm really curious. We've made a lot of changes from where we were last year at Vegas. Like we have whole new car specs. Should be some big upgrades. I guess we'll see when we get to the racetrack. But I felt like last year, the Toyotas in particular were like lights out fast, like 3 to 4 tenths faster than the Fords. So we have a big gap to close.
Is there something in practice fans can watch for when they're deciding on who they're going to, in their fantasy leagues or whatever, to like, oh, this driver's got it?
So Vegas might be the single worst track outside of like a plate track to judge practice speeds off of.
Really?
Yeah. And the groups.
The way there are a couple reasons for it. The way the groups settle out, I think is what TJ was about to get to. And also, like if you put air in the tires at Vegas and practice, the car will go faster. It's kind of the opposite of what we just talked about with Phoenix. If you don't put air in the tires, the cars are terribly slow, but that's what you're going to need to race and practice. So I feel like every year we go to Vegas for practice, somebody is like crazy fast and does not show up in the race. And I think you'll see that again. It'll be like Carson Hocevar or somebody like that. We'll go out and set the fastest lap in practice.
Yeah.
And then the race, they'll run like 15th the whole time.
And he's got that edge right now too, where his natural right off the truck, he's going to be fast.
That team is notorious for
hot
lapping practice.
Yeah.
Where you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, this doesn't really mean anything.
I know. So funny moment here for you guys. This is usually when Russell comes on here and talks about us running and stuff. And
No, hold on. He doesn't talk about you. I think he talks about you, TJ.
Yeah.
no, he talked about Brad too.
All right,
And
let's go. What do you got for me?
Well, we ended up having lunch with him. Like,
Oh yeah.
we had a lunch with him. And then he told us he wasn't going to be here, but
He chickened out.
yeah,
What
he's at
happened?
a little school event or something, field trip. But
No, he's got spring break.
yeah, or whatever he's doing.
Maybe he's skiing 16
maybe
miles.
maybe he's skiing too.
No,
Favorite-
17 miles.
Yes.
Well, 32 something now if we want to add them together. But what's your favorite Vegas moment?
My favorite Vegas moment?
When we lift and let you win?
No, honestly, that was not my favorite Vegas moment.
We ran out of gas one time. I don't know.
And
if
I
you remember.
won the race.
Del-
Yes.
We ran out of gas off of 2 with Latart.
No.
You know, actually, that was my favorite Vegas moment because I swept the weekend.
You know how
That was pretty cool.
What you could have done for the sport if you pushed him. You didn't even want the trophy. It's probably that
You know
big
what?
wrench.
I remember after the race, I went and talked to Dale Jr. for just a brief second. And I was like, the way you feel right now is the way I felt at Daytona. Because the 500, Dale won the 500 that year.
14.
Yep, 14. And it was only like 2 weeks earlier. And I led a bunch of the race. We came down pit road, had a terrible pit stop. Came off of pit road like 15th. And I drove all the way up to second and I couldn't pass him for the
Yeah,
lead.
'cause you should have went to the bottom in front of Denny.
Yes, I don't know if that would have won me the race, but it
I would have got you close.
would have got me closer.
Tim's, is there any other bets for Vegas that you like?
I kind of like Ross Chastain to sprinkle a little bit on a win bet. He's plus 1,600. It's pretty good odds. I was kind of disappointed.
He runs good there.
He does run good there. He's second best average finish, I think, in next gen there. So, but I'm so confused on where to go with the Trackhouse cars in general with their speed. Ross,
what about SVG? How's he gonna do?
I don't know. The mile and a half. So I'm still kind of. He's been great, but the mile and a half. I don't know.
Are we sleeping?
I want
on,
to see. I
Are
want
we
to see
sleeping
one.
on Ty Gibbs now that he's with the right people? I mean, what do we?
He doesn't have. It's a great quote. He doesn't have really good numbers here, so I'm just not going to back it. But he's. I mean, obviously a Gibbs car that could run top 10, top 5, top 3 any week. So
This spring Vegas race is known for surprise winners. So
ooh, that's good. I like to hear that.
Anybody else? Any top 10s or anything?
AJ Allmendinger would be a little bit of a sprinkle too,
He's
but
quietly.
quietly good here.
Where was he at in points? He was up there.
well, he's the top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not something I would have had on
Where are
my.
the points? Pull him back up here. I'm curious too. I'm pretty sure he's like right in front of us.
You should open another tab.
if I'm not
AJ
mistaken,
He's
AJ won.
13th.
13th.
He won in
I mean-
O'Reilly race here, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm
He
pretty sure
did.
did. Yeah,
So
a few years ago.
yeah.
So one thing I realized we didn't talk about though is how are you feeling getting out of these cars and getting back in with the injury? If you want to talk about that.
Yeah, so racing with an injury is not fun. I'll tell you, I'm the most comfortable in the car. Just the way the seat is and everything's done. Walking to and from the car sucks, particularly after the race. Like getting out of the car and like taking those steps. Like even when you're not hurt, after you run a race, like you get out of the car and the first few steps, you're like a baby deer. Like walking. What's this like? Because you just got out of a race car where you're pulling like 2.5 G's, like you're sitting, so standing up is not like natural right now, and you're usually a little dehydrated, usually a little tired, hot, sweaty, etc. But then adding on top of that, like my leg, like I get out and I have like all those like, okay, this is what it's like to stand again, and then my leg sore or hurts a little bit. Like that's like when it hits you because the adrenaline starts to wear off. So the worst part is after the race, but in the car. Like, I don't even know. I really don't. Like, I can't even feel it. And I'm getting to the spot now where, another month or two, I should be, like, over it anyway. So it's just been, like, part of my journey now. Like, you get in the car, you run the race. Like, it hurts a little bit after all the adrenaline's worn off. Then you go do the rehab, and, like, my high every week is higher than the high last week of, like, things I can do. So
How was Coda? Coda the most trying one so far?
yeah, Coda was definitely the hardest because the curbs.
Yeah, the
you
curbs.
bounce the curbs so much, and when you shift a cup car, you do this quick movement with your foot where you blip the gas, and it's kind of aggressive, and like it puts like a shock through your leg, and I can feel those.
I think that's what Joey did to Ross in the trial, the dog leg, when he was on the restart.
No blip shift.
So your 16th in points though is like content, happy.
Yes and no. Like I was disappointed in Phoenix. I thought we'd be better than we were at Phoenix.
Well, we kind of.
We dug a hole on Saturday with a crash, but I wanted to go out to Phoenix and have a solid top 5 outing or better, and we didn't have that. If we just ran like 5th at Phoenix and said we ran 15th, we'd score 10 more points plus the stage points. We would be legitimately 5th in points right now. Like
That's how close it is.
yes.
Yeah.
Instead, we're 16th. So looking ahead to Vegas, like if we just run like top 5 the whole race, like we'll leave Vegas in the top 10 in points, maybe even the top 5 points.
Gotcha.
That Dirty Mo Doe segment was brought to you by FanDuel, the premier gaming destination in the United States. So thanks for joining us in the Arby's studio. Don't forget about Arby's new Meat in 3 box. Get more meal for your money at Arby's. We have the meats. So it was fun filling in today, guys. Thanks for having me. Dale Jr., hope you're enjoying the ski session. Don't break a leg. All 16 miles of riding you've done.
A day.
Hope everybody's having a great time with the girls, you and Amy. But appreciate everybody listening. This is my one podcast for the year.
I'm sure Mike will want to meet with you after this about starting something.
We'll see. I hope
So-
people liked it. I think it was good.
I had fun.
Thanks for having me, TJ, Travis.
Yeah.
Tampa Tim's, great insights. That's it. Peace out.